People of Earth, welcome back to another episode of Can't Stop Playing. Thank God it's Pod Day, Friday, June 26th, all out of sorts. And that's because we just got back from E3 and our year has been flipped upside down. I'm your host, Zach Gostrobo, and joining me as always, my choral partner in crime, Gabriel Von Gabe.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Do you? How much do you like it?
I like, on a scale of 1 to 10, I like it 2 Pikachus.
Two
That's
Pikachus.
that's like a 40.
6 bags of popcorn from my end.
I don't like popcorn all that much, but
What if you put ketchup on the popcorn?
no, I'll eat popcorn. I'm fine with that.
With the ketchup on top?
No, F ketchup in the butt. But
All right.
Yep.
Joining us from the other side of this lonely planet, we have a new college graduate ready to enter the world. He's no longer
university.
It's a university. Yeah.
University. A no longer a plebe on Facebook. This man resides solely on LinkedIn. Max Blitzwinger.
Like a boss. Exactly. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Nice to return to the podcast. We have a new feed.
Yes.
So if you're enjoying this, please don't forget to rate us and do all that good stuff because you're lovely people.
And if you're not enjoying it, still rate us, please, and subscribe. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't like everything in life. Sometimes you have to take the good or take the bad so you can know what the good is.
Yeah, like, for example, Gabe loves to eat ketchup.
Right.
Speaking of bad and good, we're going to talk about Batman. This is a Batman episode, right?
Plus,
That's what we're doing?
Plus stories from deep Texas.
Oh, yeah.
It's-
You have a crazy story to tell us, don't you?
It's one story. Do you want me to just do it now?
What are you waiting for?
All right. I help at the food bank occasionally. It's just a thing I do, right?
Which is nice.
Yeah. Today was the last day because they do this farmers market thing. So what we do, we go set it up and guide people in there or whatever. All right, so we're there and they tell me, hey, like we really need you on traffic control duty because it takes place in a giant parking lot and the cars can't actually go towards where the tents are because we set up these tents for people to sell their merchandise. So we have to tell them, hey, go park in the back, right? Most people don't have a problem with this. They're like, okay, yeah, I'll go park in the back. It's not a very far distance at all. This one truck comes up to me. I tell him, hey, you got to go park in the back. And I say Zach now knows me in person. I'm super polite. I said, I'm sorry, but you got to go park in the back. And he's like, no, I'm not parking in the back. I told him, well, if you want to go over there, you kind of have to because we're not allowed, I can't allow you in here. He's like, who are you to tell me this? I'm like, well, they have me, working here right now. So, you can't park over here, man. And it's a man, late 20s, early 30s, right around there. He says, get the F out of the way. I'm like, I can't do that. And he has his son with him, which I'm assuming is 18 years old around there. And he tells his son,
Wait,
go.
his son's 18 and he's in his late 20s?
No, early 30s. I don't know if it's son, nephew, whatever, dude.
Okay.
My mind's on.
Listen, Batman, relax over there.
Yeah,
with your
all right, here's the
detective
thing.
skills.
He tells his son, just drive. I'm like, and the dude says, I can't. He's in front of the car. He's like, F him, just drive. I told him, you probably shouldn't do that. And then I'm being calm, so this guy just gets pissed, the older guy. He gets off of the truck, he comes right up to me, and I told him, okay, that's fine, you want to get off, just please don't touch me. And he gives me a look, and he comes very close, it looks like he's about to go in for a push, and I give him a look. I give him my Texas look. I have one of these.
What's the Texas look?
I can't do the Texas
right
look.
into the camera.
No, I
Do the Texas
can't do
look.
it.
Only for Texans, Max.
It's only in
okay.
Texas. So I give him this look, and he rethinks the fact that he's going to push me. He's much smaller than me. So I guess he sort of he saw that I wasn't backing down, so he decided to stop. He keeps telling that other guy, just run him over, and the other guy's like, no, I'm not running him over. What are you doing? I told him,
what a great father.
I told him, dude, just get back in the car and go park. Go get. He's like, I just want a juice. I'm like, then park and get your juice. He's like, well, no, there's a lot of people. I told him, I'm sorry, but he tells me, I'm gonna call the cops because you're not letting me into this parking lot. I told him, go ahead and call the cops. You just told this dude to run me over. I'm just doing what I'm being told to do by this establishment, all this stuff. And this dude just gets crazy confrontational. He's borderline about to hit me. He says, F this, forget you, I'm leaving. I said, okay. So he gets back in he tells the dude, switch seats with me. And I thought I wasn't going to get run over at this point because now the crazy guy's driving. I said, man, please don't let me get run over. He just peels off and he does a turn and he leaves. And that was fine. But yeah, people are crazy. That's basically...
That's the conclusion of the story.
Yeah.
People are crazy. All he wanted is some juice, dude.
He could have parked and gotten his juice. I had no issue with this man quenching his thirst.
Maybe you should have brought him some juice, door-to-door service juice.
I did park somebody's car. This lady,
Maybe you have a business opportunity. Next time, put a lemonade stand next to, and then you'd be cashing in.
yeah, no, because they do all this like healthy stuff at the farmer market. It's like I don't know if organic juice is a thing, but that's what I'm calling it. Like it's like 100% like natural stuff. I'm like, okay. This lady, she walks up to me like I'm valet. She's like, hey, can you move my car? It's right there. She had these bags of like heavy like fruits on her, so I'm like, okay, whatever. So I moved her car, but
She didn't want you to help her with a bag. She just wanted you to move the car.
I helped a lot of people with their bag, and that's not my job. I'm there to do other stuff. But every time I saw either a very young person or a very old person or a female, period, just walking with the bags, because the parking lot's a decent distance away, but it's not that far. But they're struggling with all these bags, and I'm helping all of them out while almost being run over. It was a good time.
You have to dodge cars.
Yeah.
There's just cars going everywhere. You're jumping over with heavy bags.
Yeah.
Pretty epic to see.
You're basically a
Interesting.
superhero game.
I'm Batman.
Basically, essentially, he was Batman.
Before we jump into Batman, I just want to give a quick life update here. I rode a plane from California to Indiana, and I didn't.
What happened?
I didn't freak out, but I've somehow my anxiety. I saw a movie today, Jurassic World, which by the way is freaking incredible. No stress. Rode a plane, no stress. But I did have an Indian couple sit next to me. They were in their 50s. And they started selfieing it up
How are you guys so good at guessing ages? I love how it's 20s or 30s. It's like it wasn't relevant to the story in any way, but okay.
This part is
going.
really relevant to the
They were
story because then they
55.
started taking
Okay.
selfies, which was very awkward as their front camera, and I can see myself in the corner of the front camera, so I'm trying to scooch out the way, which was a mistake because then I scooched towards the window, and I'm Gabe can attest this. I'm basically very thin, so. I scooched over, and Mrs. Whatever took full advantage of the opportunity to occupy half my seat with her bulky arms. So then for the rest of the flight, I awkwardly had to be in the corner and her
Well, look,
chunky
55
arms.
years on this planet gives you a lot of experience about how to maneuver and manipulate placement on the
selfie
airplane.
thing was just a total scam.
Yeah.
Exactly. Of course.
But-
She was like, listen, that's been working. We got to keep implying that.
But
That's
I did do my own Batman move when they both fell asleep, and I had to go to the bathroom, and I didn't want to wake them up, so I had to do the long step over both of them without touching or waking them up, and I managed to leave and return with zero body contact and zero wakey, and I got back into my seat like nothing ever happened.
So you too were Batman, but you were stealth Batman.
Yeah.
I really hope that I never ever see the day where Batman says wakey wakey.
I'm sure Adam West said it at some point.
Exactly. I was just going to say the 1960s Batman probably has said it.
All right, we can get into Batman if you'd like. This new Batman game came out. It's got a car in it and some.
It's sort of
no
a
big
big
deal.
deal.
Yeah.
Wait. Is there no lightning round for this week? There is no lightning round.
Zach
There's nothing
can
talk
try
about.
to make one up while we do this.
Sure. Well,
Yeah.
It's coming. It's after Batman. I just want to get to Batman.
Oh, okay. It's after Batman.
Right,
Sounds
yeah.
good. All right, let's do Batman. All right, so Batman came out. It's the final game in the trilogy, which it seems like they all have forgotten that Arkham Origins came out.
Even though this game
Like,
directly references that multiple times.
It does.
Yeah. And has even characters specifically from that game. But yeah, of course, it has come out. This is the final Rocksteady venture into the Batman
I don't
games.
even believe them.
I think this is their final Batman game.
Yeah.
I think so.
We'll see.
Just like Soul Batman game. And then, of course, the game has come out on PlayStation, Xbox One. I mean, PlayStation 4, Xbox One.
Don't you say PC? It's not on PC now.
And basically, it's not on PC, which was honestly a little rant here since we have the time this week. We're only focused on one game.
Yeah.
I've bought 3 or 4 big AAA games now on PC first, and all of them never worked on launch day. So I just don't get the group of people who are like, oh, we're the PC Master Race and we have this incredible console again. Yeah, it's by the time that game works on your console, nobody already wants to play it. It's that platform seems to be never. It's if it's a big AAA title, it just doesn't work. GTA 5 didn't work. This doesn't work. It's I don't get it. At least on consoles, I know that it will work.
Yeah, well, not always.
In my experience, I didn't play Assassin's Creed Unity.
Yeah, well, no, The Witcher, game-breaking bugs left and right.
Oh yeah, on the Xbox. Yeah, well, I stopped playing.
I mean, both those games are. That's probably doing yourself a favor by missing out on both of those. But Unity,
What, Batman and The Witcher?
No, Unity and The Witcher on console.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, but Batman needed to work, and I was probably just upset because I wanted to play it. I started playing it, and then there would be this weird like stuff where it'll zoom into first person when you're driving the Batmobile and you can't zoom out. Like you're just stuck in first person. So you're driving like you're in the front of the Batmobile. So I don't know. It's just very annoying. Nonetheless, about the game, I think it's awesome.
I think the first place we should start is with that Batmobile, because that's kind of like their big addition. I mean, this game very much feels like Batman. It's not like a revolutionary in any way, just like the biggest and probably most polished Batman game they've made. But the Batmobile, it's used way more than I expected, especially for combat.
All right, so just hate it or love it. You have no other option.
Okay.
Max, hate it or love it. Batmobile specific.
Love it.
Okay.
I absolutely love it.
Okay. Zach?
Love it.
I hate it. I hate it.
Whoa, that is surprising.
The Batmobile, I hate it. I hate the way it was implemented. I like certain aspects of it, so I guess...
No. You said love it or hate it.
No, I do hate it. I do hate it. I hate the way they used it. I do. It's not cool.
What bugs you
You mean
about
just because of how often they use it?
Yes, basically. It's used so often, especially now that I've finished the game, so now what I'm doing is just trying to 100% it. So that one section of side missions where you have to those when the bombs are on the ground and you basically dude, that's just all vehicle combat. It's so dumb because at this point, once you've done like the first like maybe 7 of them, you have like 50 tanks coming at you. It's just so overbearing. And even during the main story, like that, I wish the Batmobile is a damn near a character in this game, and I wish it wasn't. So.
It is. Yeah. I don't know. To me, first of all, I think that this is like the game is incredible sound design, like unbelievably well done. I got these new headphones, so that's probably a part of it, because like when I play with them, every thud and every shot and everything just sounds ridiculously good. But with the Batmobile, I don't know why, like all those missions where you said with the bombs, I think I'm on the 4th right now or something like that. We should say that myself and Zach have not finished the game yet, but Gabe has completed it fully.
Yeah.
So some things like we won't really know yet, so maybe he's more privy to certain information. Maybe it does get annoying, but I don't know. To me, that feeling when I get something cool with the Batmobile, like when I pull off, you know how they have like weak spots on those other enemy tanks, and you manage to like hit a couple of them, dodge because of the red lasers. You know kind of where to dodge, and you can kind of like order your format of movement, and you're moving around, and I don't know, to me it's like super duper satisfying driving it around in regular like Batmobile mode. Super fun, like sliding into corners, smashing stuff out of the way. It's got this like really good weight, like the vehicle itself feels like you're a heavy thing. So I don't know, for me it's been a ton of fun. All the puzzling is really cool, and I love how it's like it kind of almost lets you in onto Batman's side in terms of like how important is the Batmobile. Like, you know, in many things we see it like in films and such, it's important, but it's so usually important in like one scene.
Yeah, it's a set
like
piece.
Whereas here, it is like what you said. It's a character, and you're essentially using it like it's your Robin in this game.
Yeah.
It's your sidekick, which is really cool.
But here's my issue, and I think this is because I've completed the game and I'm going for the 100%. There's this one specific area very, very close to the end of the story where it's another one of those platforming, because there is vehicle platforming pretty much. You're pulling levers to get the ramp to the correct section to jump over, you know, precisely. And there's a lot of weird vehicle platforming. And I like that. Dude, the first time it happened, I was so giddy. I loved it. But when they do it 5 more times, and then the last one is just like, you're quite literally just scaling down a giant hole with the Batmobile, like, it becomes way too repetitive. And you've started. I'm assuming you've started. It's a side mission, so sorry I'm spoiling it. So again, just mild spoilers to anyone playing the game, and also to you guys. The Firefly stuff. Have you started that?
Yeah.
All right. See, that is super annoying. Once you
I loved it.
No, it's awesome the first 1 or 2 times, but by the 4th or 5th, like I just did this exact same thing. Like, what are you doing?
But I wonder if that's an issue of where when you're 100% completing, you're playing those missions back to back to back. Like I won't because you see what I do is I do a rotation. I'll go like 1 1 1 1 1. So, like, you know, when you bring up your mission selection, which, by the way, their HUD system is awesome in this game, the way that they implement that. But I just go around. Like, I don't go and complete 4 Riddler missions in a row and then move on to the next thing. I'll do, like, 1 Riddler mission, then I'll do 1 Firefly mission, then I'll do 1 of these, just so that I have, like, a variance of what I'm doing all the time. Yeah, so I wonder if that would have helped.
I do that sometimes. I wasn't doing, like, Firefly, like, back to back, but I would do, like, Firefly, then a Riddler one, then I would go to, like, the Two-Face one, then I go back to Firefly. So maybe there's like 2 separated, but still, it's like the exact same thing. And I will say this: the Batmobile controls very well, which I was worried about. I was thinking like, how the hell are you going to go around like, set corners? But it breaks every corner basically. So that it's so cool. The thing you're talking about like the precision that you need to take down those tanks in that one spot, it's cool. Like when there's like 5, maybe 10 of those tanks, but when there's 50, like it's an issue. There's red lines everywhere. You're also being shot at with like homing torpedoes that you can only take down with the secondary weapon, and you get an EMP later in the game, which helps, I guess. But there's so many tanks, like it's very hard to be able to be precise when you're also trying to avoid shots from every other tank.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, I think I had like the most I ever had like was 30 something. So I was never overwhelmed or anything like that. I felt like I don't know. I just feel like when it gets difficult, it's like it's justified. It makes sense why it's difficult. You know, like at no point did I feel like it's getting repetitive or that something that like where I'll die or something was the game's fault. Like I always felt like, oh, I should have probably moved and been not so like for me in those missions. Whenever I do those ones, I'm always moving. I'm never standing. I'm in tank mode and I'm always doing the dash to the sides, forwards, backwards. I'm constantly moving around. So I don't know. I've not had any issues with them, but I don't know. What about you, Zach?
I mean, I like the Batmobile. I wish there was a little bit more variety, but I think all in all, like, what stands out to me most about this game is that they nail the mechanics all in every aspect. Everything feels good. And I was talking to Gabe off air about how, like, this is a mainstream super hype game that I actually really like. And why is that in comparison to something like The Witcher or even Dying Light earlier this year or whatnot. And I think it's honestly GTA even. I think it's because it feels super good. Like, it's not just clouded in this BS of like, oh, it's this fantastical world and this great. No, like actual moment-to-moment action, whether it's the Batmobile, whether it's, you know, flying through the city, like the way that they use the grapnel launches is spectacular. The combat feels great in concert with the sound design that really hits home like every punch and every hit and the finishing moves. But it's a game that does all that experiential stuff really well, but still, like, Rocksteady is talented enough to say, hey, like, just like Mario's jump has to feel right, Batman's flight has to feel right, and the way he lands on the ground has to feel right, and the way that he mantles over ledges and punches guys and counters, like, it feels so good in my hands that then it makes me and allows me to enjoy all that world stuff and plot stuff, you know, a lot more. And for that, like, I have to give it huge props. I wanted to ask you guys, like, that opening moment, we've been waiting for this game for so long, it's been delayed, but when you get the opening cutscene and Commissioner Gordon's talking, and then it jumps straight to Batman up on that ledge, no load screen, no transition, I was like super impressed.
Yeah.
Dude, honestly, I think they nailed it. They did it incredibly well with Arkham City, if you remember, where you would play as Bruce Wayne first, walking your way, and then you get captured by Penguin. Like, that was really cool. But then this time, the interesting thing is we see the suit, and I'm like, what the heck? He's still wearing the Arkham City outfit. Like, he's not wearing the right Batsuit.
Yeah.
And I was a little confused at first. I'm like, what's happening here? But just the way that they do that whole tutorial, so to speak, is incredible, because it's almost like the tutorial in like Shadow of Mordor and things like that, where it's part of the story, so you don't feel like you're doing a tutorial. You're just like, oh, I just did a tutorial and I didn't realize that I was doing one. So I think they nailed it by all accounts, and to me, I think the game really kind of like that. To me, everything is a tutorial up until your new Batsuit drops down.
Yeah.
Like, once you receive that new Batsuit, that's really when the game kind of starts. But that whole first section is incredible. And to speak to the no cutscenes, if you play the game, there's, realistically speaking, there's very little cutscenes, like specifically cut to a cutscene. There isn't that many of them. Most of the time, it's like stuff that, like, you'll be communicating with a character through your communicator, or you're in the Batmobile and you could like rotate the camera. So you still kind of like you don't feel like it's a cutscene. You feel like it's just like, oh, gameplay just pauses and you're communicating, which is really cool.
Because the only time you ever see a loading screen is if you die.
Yeah. Which speaks to the next gen nature. I think the game looks great. I think I mean, obviously being at nighttime gives them a little bit of leeway, but I still think it looks great. The character models like look really good. And yeah, I love how it's always in the game. So even when you have the communicator up, like, you can walk around and modify, you know, see the world and move and walk down ledges and whatnot. And just technically speaking, like, next gen, like, this is what people have talked about. Is it going to look 10 times better graphically? No, but you're going to avoid load screens. You're going to have seamless cities. You're going to have access to everything at one time. And that's something that maybe goes kind of like subconscious / unnoticed, but I want to make sure people know, like, this game, that kind of stuff isn't possible except for the power of like Xbox One and PS4 and PC. Like, to me, that's possibly the most impressive part, is that everything is contained within one explorable world and there's no, trickery going on or elevator load screens or anything.
No.
Yeah, even though, to be fair, speaking of elevator, sometimes it does feel like during the Riddler missions...
Those are long elevator
missions. Yeah, those are elevator load scenes, I think, at least. They feel... But again, the cool thing is that as you're going up, he's still talking to you. He'll talk smack to you.
He is very verbose. Man, that rule list at the beginning of the game, like, I was like, rule 6, 7, 8, 9, like, how many am I going to get here?
Yeah, he is...
You get as many as the load screen lasts.
Well, that's not even a load screen. You can stop that at any point, and he was just like... There's a lot of dialogue in the game.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of just general polish in this game. Like, to me, when I seek an open world game, it's like this, where it's not about, hey, it's the biggest Batman Arkham City or Gotham City we've ever done.
They said that.
It's more, yeah, but it's still, to me,
this isn't very big. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, it's not the selling point. Like, to me, is the fact that I am incentivized to go explore these things. The fact that I genuinely can have those, like, the same thing where people have, I'm riding around a horse on Witcher and I just enjoy looking at the sights. To me, being able to glide through this neon, rainy, dark, stormy Gotham, just flowing through it, and then suddenly you press LB or you tap LB or whatever, or L1 depending on where you're playing on, and you could summon a Batmobile and just dive right down, and all of a sudden you're in a Batmobile and you could explore that all on a ground level, is like super cool. And then what ties it all together is missions that are, in my opinion, significant, because I feel like it kind of works better for the character of Batman, because it says to him like, oh, hey, there's this crime going on. Do you think you want to go take care of it right now, or is this thing more important to you? So it never like forces you to do any fetch missions just for doing them, which I feel like is really nice. Because
wait, but I take a little bit of issue with that, because they tell you, hey, you're not going to get the real ending unless you do all these side missions, and a lot of those side missions are mad repetitive. Like, you're doing,
I guess,
So I guess if they want to lock behind the real ending
but wait, did you get an ending?
I got an ending, not the ending. They split when the game ends. You get you don't get the credits. You don't get a final cutscene. Nothing. Mm-hmm. Like, it sort of just ends abruptly, and then it's a good excuse. Like, you get well, I don't want to spoil it, but the real ending doesn't happen until you finish like 80 or 90% of the side missions, not including the Riddler stuff, I think.
Cool. Yeah, I heard something about that. I just wasn't sure how they specifically clarified that. So I don't know how to comment on it, because, again, I haven't seen either ending yet. So and nothing has gotten repetitive for me yet, at least personally.
Oh, it will, buddy. It will.
Yeah.
It does feel a little strange. Like, they'll be like, Oracle, blah, 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 like, get after her, and then you can go and do, like, a million other things if you want. Like, you don't have to follow after her. And I do, like, I think this game is incredibly polished. That's the first thing that stood out to me. The UI, everything just feels... We didn't see much of that at all pre-release, and to then be surprised with, like, wow, how well they put this game together, and how it's also cool that you don't have, like, a very limited arsenal. Even when you get that upgrade, or before you have the Batsuit upgrade, you have access to so many abilities, and it feels like you're pretty powered up early on, and then there's all these upgrades that you can continue to kind of build your character in different ways and in a multitude of avenues. The Batsuit, combos, the Batmobile. So I love that you start off... You don't get Metroided. Like, you start off very strong, and then you just get stronger, which is cool. But I can't help but think, for all the variety, for the fact that it hasn't got repetitive for me either, I do wish they would spend more time on, like, the same track. Like, I feel like if the game was a little bit more linear, or even like Arkham Asylum linear, like, it would be stronger. And I guess I just want to get you guys' opinions on what they gain or what they lose by having it be open, because there's times where it does, like, cut you off from missions or force you to do something else. And
they kind of do it, because I think that the bridge limitations is kind of like they're trying to, like, force you to a certain path, mm-hmm. because, like, how the bridges are up, so you're kind of stuck on one island at first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you're not supposed to go to the other ones, or you can't even interact with very missions on the other ones until the bridges are lowered. So they kind of almost try to, like, push you into a certain line of like, hey, you should be doing these missions right now, and then now you should be focusing on these ones, and then eventually you can go here. Now, with that being said, you know it and I know it as well. Like right now, again, I haven't finished Arkham Knight, but if we don't count it, Arkham Asylum is my favorite of the Arkham games,
Right.
just
Same
like
here.
with you. So I do like the linear experience more, but it's almost one of those things like, look, I accept the fact that people, for some reason, there's this weird thing of like, if it's open world, that means it's better, it's more value, and blah, blah,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. So I almost feel like that's more for the general public than for me. But for me, what they gain by doing open world is I feel like they can do more characters and explore more rogues of Batman. Like you can do Firefly and Man-Bat and Riddler, and like it feels like they could do a much wider cast because they have a lot more stuff to fill in.
And that
So,
Man
because
Bat
of that-
one is the one that I'm talking about, where like the first time you catch him, and then I went to his lab, and then I wanted to like continue that storyline, and it's like,
Yeah.
Man Bat's
Yeah, you
not
can't-
he's
yeah.
not out right now or whatever, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh man, and
Yeah.
I guess just for me the experience I get is I want to mainline this game, but I almost feel like guilty about that because I was like 28% done with the main Scarecrow quest. I was like, holy crap, that's a lot more than I thought. I better do some of this side stuff so I don't waste it. And I almost like, I know if I do the main line, I'm not going to want to do 10 Firefly missions in a row and 10 bomb defusals. So it's kind of like messing with my psyche of like how I play this.
Yeah.
When I would rather just like, I like the Scarecrow stuff. I think they made him really menacing this time, which I love. Like, if you remember Arkham
He's amazing. That voice
Yeah.
is just ridiculously
like
good.
the character design of Scarecrow in Arkham Asylum, he was kind of like a Halloween goofball, and now he's like a legit like
He looks scary.
psycho scare. I love that they've upped like, I mean, this is the first mature rated game in the series, and I like that they have made it more like even the stuff. Well, I don't. There's a character that follows you around, and even some of the stuff that
Spoiler,
yeah.
he's amazing.
Some
the
of the
way
stuff they
did
say
that
is like real. Like
is
that feels
insane.
like that to me. That I was like, this is like a Naughty Dog, irrational, Rocksteady like moment where they do something that's unique and a small thing, but it adds so much to the experience because it's done so perfect and so well. And if you played the game,
Yeah.
you know what we're talking about.
Wait, you
Yeah.
lost me. What'd you say? I didn't even hear you.
He said that there is a certain character that starts following you
Oh, okay.
in the
okay.
game,
Yeah,
and the stuff they do with that is like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like nobody even ever discusses that, like the people who reviewed the game and everything like that.
Yeah.
Maybe not to spoil it, but I think the way that's done, it's like it gives you a reason to have a character that you don't expect to be there,
And it almost
at
feels
all
dynamic.
times.
The way that these exchanges happen, it's like, is this scripted or is it just because I
Yeah.
walked over here? Like sometimes
Yeah.
it's behind a wall and you're just like, I don't know. I think it's like such a great way to keep the player engaged and not feeling like that cold loneliness of like, I'm exploring this open world and I'm going through these missions and I'm this Batman
Yeah.
guy. Like, I love that Batman obviously is a likable character, but I think they do such a good job of keeping him constantly characterized, right? Like they're constantly giving you stuff about him or about the villains and like that. It's a little thing, but it's such a special moment, and they nail it dialogue-wise.
I want to talk about one more issue I had with the game that you guys can't even talk about, which is the story. I guess we're not going to say.
Okay, well, let's just say spoiler alert for everyone here, I guess.
because we're going to say who the
'cause
Arkham Knight is.
He's going to mention who the Arkham Knight is. Now, it was already spoiled for me and Zach, so
yeah. So they know
we're
who it
aware
is.
of who it will be, but go ahead.
Like, okay, so I think the very first time that they showed the Arkham Knight, everybody said that's probably Jason Todd, right? And I could be wrong, but I think Rocksteady at one point said no, this is a brand new character. So I think we were
Yeah,
lied to.
they have said that it's a brand new character.
Yeah,
which,
so-
to be fair, it is a brand new character, but
a
it's
brand
not
new
a brand
skin
new
for the Red
person
Hood.
portraying the character.
Right.
Yeah, because it's Jason Todd, and the way they did it, right? And the reveal when the mask comes off, the music plays like this is some big surprise. I'm like, no, I knew this. Like I fully knew this. Like halfway through the game, you are told damn near against you guys already know who it is. You're damn near told here Jason Todd's a Red Hood, but they don't explicitly say it. But just thinking back, you're damn near told. And the way they did it, I wish they would have just done the Red Hood storyline completely, because I think that's just much cooler than this guy was hired by Scarecrow to mess with Batman and now he has this grudge against him. And
As a non-Batman like aficionado, can you tell me why this is offensive or bad?
it's not that it's offensive or bad. The thing is that we were lied to, because
You wanted
like I said,
a totally new character.
yeah, don't say it's a new character. And people asked, hey, is this a Red Hood thing? And they're like, no, it's not that. But yes, it is. Like, you lied. And so when Rocksteady says, hey, this isn't the Red Hood story, and it is a Red Hood story, and I was told it wasn't, so I expect it to be something different, and it isn't. I feel like that's not good.
Should have just put Joker in there, man.
Joker was in there at one point.
In the suit.
They did. Oh, I guess. I mean, we're doing spoilers. They do the exact same thing I told you wouldn't count for the ketchup thing.
Oh.
That like you unmask the Arkham Knight and it's like Joker, but it's like an hallucination. They do that. They fully.
I think that counts, Gabe.
It doesn't count.
I'm gonna get a screen cap
Technically,
of
he
it.
is the Arkham Knight. Yeah.
No, I fully said that wouldn't count because I knew they were going to do it. But they handle the Joker so well in this game. You guys all got to that part, right? When the Joker stuff starts happening.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
That stuff
before.
is just absolutely incredible. I don't know how we didn't hint at it, but the fact that the Joker finds out for the first time that Batman is Bruce Wayne when he's dead, and his response to that, like how he's like, "Oh, look at you!" Like when you go for the first time to like. Where was it? Like Wayne Tower, I think. And there's a chessboard, and he's just standing there, like next to the chessboard, and then he starts like giving you the spiel about what he feels about like knowing that you are Bruce Wayne. It's just so good because it's like you finally get to see that happen. Like he knows that you're Bruce Wayne, and what is his response? And he's just like, "Oh, I couldn't care less." But that's a great way that you disguise yourself, like to be the least social person in Gotham. And then you're Batman.
The Joker stuff is some of my favorite stuff because, man, his dialogue, whoever wrote it, they know the voice of the Joker. I'm not talking about the actual, like, Troy Baker voice. That's not what I'm talking about. Like, they know what the Joker is and what he stands for. Like, he's making quips, like, the whole time.
I think the pace of the whole game is so quick. Like, you're switching, like, in one moment you're taking down these tanks, and the next moment you're doing a little puzzle solving the Batmobile, and the next moment the Arkham Knight brings in a helicopter, and it's like a mini boss fight. Then you're talking to Gordon, then you're starting a new mission. And when that works, it's like an excellent way to just make the time pass without you even noticing it. Like, it absorbs you so well, like a good movie, where they're constantly, like, throwing something new at you and engaging you via plot and via world building and via, sensory stuff with audio. And I love those moments. It loses a little bit when you do, like, we talked about some of the repetitive side stuff, but when it's right, like, there's a reason that Rocksteady is heralded as one of the better developers, or one of the best developers in the industry.
I just find it weird. You see, like, why the response for this game, it's probably on course to be, is it the lowest reviewed out of the Arkham games? I'm guessing.
I don't think so.
Because it's got an 89 Metascore.
Okay.
I think Origins is lower.
Well, except for Origins. I'm saying like the Rocksteady ones.
Yeah. Then it's the lowest. Yes.
Yeah, and that's kind of interesting because I almost feel like, again, the story element is not fully explored yet, so I can't comment on the whole experience.
Sure.
But I feel like what you said even there, the game does so much. To me, it's like the things that are repetitive, they're repetitive, but they may be repetitive, I should say, but there's just still so much selection. Like you have AR missions, the Riddler missions, they're still different. Like so far out of the Riddler things that I've done, like helping out Catwoman and such, all of them have been relatively different in terms of just like what you're actually doing. Like one of them requires you to like shoot out of your Batmobile and like touch these like specific buttons.
Yeah.
Like one of them is like a lot more puzzly natured. Another one is like where it says, hey, these types of creatures can only be defeated by Catwoman, and these kind of robots can only be defeated by Batman. So it's like, to me, at no point have I felt like anything was too repetitive, because there's still so much that I'm doing. I'm constantly doing something a little bit in some way different. If it's combat, it's still not the same combat. It's always evolving with other characters and stuff. So I don't know.
Here's the thing. The Riddler stuff, yes, that's all super different, right? And I wish that variety existed for a lot of the other ones. Because Firefly, exact same thing every time. The Two-Face stuff, exact same thing every time. Like, it's a room. Maybe there's like extra enemies in the room or something, or a different type of enemy, but still, you're in a room and you're doing that with the two-base stuff.
Yeah, but I feel like, you see, at that point, you're almost getting to the thing of like, what about like if you're doing a Witcher mission, right? Like, and you're going and you're fighting somebody, you're always fighting people.
No,
like,
I know, but you're not
about
chasing
every
down.
game.
Because there's times I chase Firefly down the exact same road, like, and I get it. The longer you chase them, you're gonna go like down roads that you've seen before, but like that's exactly the same. And I don't. The Two-Face one isn't even one I have as much of an issue with, but the Penguin one, dude, every time it's like literally the exact same thing, like literally, like it doesn't change.
And I think that's part and parcel with open world. I do feel like it gets a little repetitive, but one thing that to me, I'm typically the most critical person on here, and to me, it feels like they're baking them with just better ingredients. So if you look at and compare, like, say, the Firefly missions to, like, Chase the Page in Assassin's Creed, because in theory they are kind of similar events, the way that it's couched, the way that it's sort of, like, crafted here has way more character, way more, it feels like polish around it, and that, to me, that makes it that much more okay and that much better, and I vibe with the open worldness so much more, because it just really seems like, whether it's the designers or just their methodology or their mindset, like, they know how to add an extra layer of icing to this stuff to make it more exciting, more enjoyable, and more palatable than just, like, you know, there's some missions, and I hate to pick on Ubisoft, but, like, a lot of their games where it's like, climb the tower and press this button, or go here and hold Y to sync the point, and you don't have that stuff that feels so gamey. Like, for as repetitive as the Firefly stuff is, and I haven't got to the Penguin ones, maybe they're worse, it still is, like, within the world and within the narrative and within, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a little bit of extra
It's not as much on the nose that you're playing a game.
Yeah.
You're still you feel like you're Batman, and this is something that Batman would encounter. You know,
I will
like,
say,
even when they do, like, what you mentioned, sorry, like, with the thing, oh, hey, you need to press a button. Like, I just recently completed, not too long ago, a mission where you had to, like, diffuse a radio signal. Even when you do that, they put it within the context and the narrative of the game. They don't say, hey, go to this building, press this button, and then come back around. It's still, like, they are able to keep it feeling like, oh, okay, this is what the next thing that I need to do to proceed in my ongoings. It's not as much like on the nose, where in a lot of games it's like, do you see that big thing right there?
Right.
You got to go touch that. Like, it's not as obvious.
yeah, and I don't dislike the game. I actually like it a lot. It's like my maybe third favorite game of the year, maybe second. I second for sure. I like this better than The Witcher. The cool thing about the Penguin stuff is that's the only time you ever get to see Dick Grayson, Nightwing. By the way, sorry.
I mean, it is mature rated, guys.
That was the worst time to pause ever. You said it and then you paused. That was the worst time.
Well, because
to
I was just gonna say Dick because that's his name, but then I was like, no, Grayson, no, just Nightwing, because that's what everybody else calls him.
I like how many characters in this game. Like, there's so many locations and characters, and it makes me really excited if they do like a Justice League game or a Ninja Turtles game.
Well, they're doing 6 months of DLC for a lot of those characters.
I don't know if you guys have played the Harley or Red Hood stuff, but
I played the Harley
like,
stuff.
It's so dang short, and it makes me
It's
so
15
sad
minutes.
because they devised this entire interface, this entire moveset, this entire text, like UI, everything, weapons, and then you only get to do it like. When I got to be Catwoman for a little bit in that first combat section, I was so hyped, and I wish I could just say, like, Batman, take a nap, I'm going to leap out of here as her. I really think, usually it gets confusing in a game, but I really think if they had you switching perspective more often in this game, it would be so cool, because their characters control so well, and all have, like, enough of a tweak that it's within the same system, right? When you're Harley, you still know what you're doing. But it's enough of a little twist on the formula that it feels so fun. And it would be such an amazing game if you, like, jump between Robin, Batman, Catwoman, Harley, Joker, Gordon, like.
Can you take her into, like, those other missions?
No.
Like the AR fighting stuff?
No.
You can't select? Oh. I could have sworn they said that that's what they're going to do, but I guess not.
Maybe they're going to add it in the future, but I love those moments. I mean, I love character switches in any games. One of my favorite things about, like, The Last of Us, but here, man, I want to, like, leap these characters into the open world and not have them be stuck in their little confined zones.
To be fair, it is called Batman.
Oh,
Arkham
yeah,
Knight.
I know, but I think, like, that
No, I know what you mean. But again, I think
You
that
get to
maybe
play
there's
as another
excitement.
character for a little while, like very short while.
later on, am I not there yet?
I don't think you're there yet. It's story based. Like, so you get to play as someone that isn't a superhero, basically.
For, like, a little bit,
Or-
when it forces you into first person and you're walking through a lockup
You do it
zone.
in third person, but it's literally like 3 minutes, dude.
We're talking
Yeah,
about the flashback sequence, right?
No,
No. Not the flashback sequence with the blood and all that.
no.
No.
There's
no.
another one.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty early on in the game, dude.
I wish I could just
Let's
say.
just spoiler
Yeah,
alert for the next
Gordon.
30 seconds. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, you get to play as Gordon. That's not a flashback.
It is a flashback.
No, that's when
the
Batman.
first one.
No, that
The flashback is just at the beginning.
no,
The
is
Yeah, no,
Gordon
I'm
one-
talking about
this
another
is
one.
the Gordon thing is a flashback,
No, the Gordon when like Batman quote unquote dies.
but it's a flashback.
No, that is not a flashback.
So Batman's really there talking about the Joker blood infecting these 4 people, and then he's instantly just back in the...
No, that's a separate thing, because
Ace.
Batman dies. He doesn't really die, but Batman dies, and you play as Gordon. You go to this thing.
But
it's not a flashback.
But yes, it is, because then Batman wakes back up in the room where he just,
No, but it's not a flashback. It's this thing, because this whole game is weird, because
It's
there's
like
all
a
this...
during the explosion kind of thing.
Yeah,
And
it's
Batman
not a
is in
flashback at all.
both places at the same time?
No. Like, it's happening... It's not really even happening, really.
So that's not even real. That's just like some BS make-believe.
Half of this game isn't real. Like, by
I'm
the way,
pretty sure
like,
that's a flashback, because it's referencing
it's not a
when
flashback.
when Joker takes his blood and, like...
It's not a flashback.
And because then...
Whoa, he doesn't let
Dave,
you. It's
then,
it's
listen,
not a
then,
flashback.
then,
That's it.
because then Batman says, you said there were 5, and I only see 4, and he said the 5th is coming or whatever. That's a freaking
Yeah.
flashback.
No, like, it wasn't even really happening, I think. The way I understood that was
It was
happening.
just like
from
complete, like someone was on a drug trip and wanted to include this scene.
Well, you have to no. But you have to remember that, like, with all the stuff that happens, like, don't forget that basically, essentially, about like what 10? Well, not 10. A lot more than that. Probably like the first hour in the game or so, you get hit by the fear toxin,
Right.
the
Yeah.
new one. So a lot of the stuff that happens is like hallucination. Like that's how the Joker encounters happen.
Sure.
Yeah.
So all that stuff is like hallucinations and hallucination-driven stuff.
So Batman hallucinates
So-
that he's Gordon talking to Batman.
No, I'm saying like some of the scenes could be things that like he just imagines were
Yeah.
happening.
I just took
and
it because
stuff
it was
like that.
light outside. That this was like before this night.
prior. Yeah, it could be.
I don't know.
You're
It
right.
doesn't really
maybe.
matter in
Yeah.
the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, they let you play as a good amount of characters. Like so far, I've gotten to control like Nightwing, Batman, Catwoman, Azrael. So it's like you still get a decent amount
Yeah.
of characters. So it's like I know what you
In
mean.
combat,
though.
though,
Like,
I
it would be
wish I could
interesting.
like do stuff with
you're
it.
technically using Catwoman and Nightwing and Robin in combat.
Yeah, I think it would be amazing if they did something where, just for fun, because again, I think a lot of times we kind of forget that these are games and there could just be a fun component.
Mm-hmm.
Like, once I complete the game, just let me play as whoever I want. Like, you could
Yes.
even keep showing Batman. Like, you could keep showing Batman in the cutscenes or whatever.
Sure.
But let me play it through, like, as Harley.
Yeah.
Or switch
That'd be
out
so
into
good.
Nightwing. Or switch out to whoever I want. Like, that would be really, really cool.
And one last thing, we should probably like talk about the combat a little bit, but I wanted to ask you guys this because I can say this with a certain amount of certainty. I don't think Zach is going to 100% this game.
Why?
Like, it's not. Huh?
I did Arkham Asylum.
Are you?
I want to. I like it enough.
Okay. But then the issue becomes if you don't get the ending.
I mean, there's always YouTube.
True.
Does
All right.
he? But does he not get the the ending? Oh, no, I almost said the YouTube. Does he not get the ending if he doesn't 100% complete it, or is it just a certain threshold?
No, I think it's. I've heard mixed things because I know you get like the one I think is like the real ending. You get it if you like knock down like 6 of Gotham's Most Wanted, which is all the villains in the wheel basically.
Okay.
6 of them I think is the number, or 7. So then you get the ending. It doesn't take into account all the bombs on the floor, all the towers.
yeah.
It doesn't take into account any of those, and also it doesn't take into account the Riddler trophies. And there's like 200 some of those.
Yeah,
So,
234.
but I do hear that if you do 100% everything, including all the trophies, you get another ending, like in addition to the real ending. Is what.
Now,
happens.
to be honest, I would want to like first then not complete it properly,
Right.
get one ending, then complete the Most Wanted, get that ending,
Yeah.
and then finally complete it 100%. Because I wouldn't want to just complete it 100% and be like, oh, what were the other endings?
Well, no, I think you still see this first ending because this first ending is barely an ending.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
it's so abrupt. Like it's basically Batman telling Alfred, "Hey, initiate the Nightfall protocol," and you know what that is.
Oh,
I
geez it.
I just realized I feel like such a terrible person. You're talking about the wheel, and I realized that since the start of the game, I've left these poor firefighters in like stress and struggle, and I haven't helped them at all. Like that's one of the first missions you get, and I've totally neglected.
Yeah.
Like they're just
I helped 2 firefighters so
poor
far.
firefighters just
I got like 3 of them left out of all of them.
languishing around. The combat though,
It's Batman combat.
it is Batman combat, but there's something so satisfying. I try to put a finger on it, and I just can't.
Sound. It's the
think
sound.
it is?
Those thuds when you connect like that, thump,
Mm-hmm.
boom. It's like this. It's so visceral. Like you feel like such a badass throughout.
Environmental
all of that. It's
takedowns
so
are a
good.
thing now.
Yeah,
and
that's
very
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And
I cut you off.
Using weapons also. You can
Yeah.
pick up like baseball bats and like hit him with them. Like
There's an
That was
There's an
cool.
upgrade. I'm sorry I cut you off twice now, but there's an upgrade for picking up the weapons and you get to hit more. Like you're very limited.
Get more
to how
hits,
many,
yeah.
Yeah, basically. Yeah,
But
so.
it feels really good. They've added a couple tweaks. It's still the Batman combat, but I love how they throw so many guys at you, and yet the way they've tweaked the difficulty feels just right. Like, you do have to be very accurate and spot on. You can die decently easy if you just stand there. But at the same time, it doesn't feel unmanageable, and you never really run into instances where you're, like, bumping into guys. I feel like Assassin's Creed borrows from this a lot, but there's so many more stymie moments in Assassin's Creed where you're, like, clashing of swords. Like, oh, God, I didn't get him. Batman, you're in control the whole time while still having to, like, modify your moveset, like if they have the shock sticks or if they have a shield or if they have knives or whatnot,
Or if they're the big guy.
right? I just love the combat, and it's interesting that they started this trend and they still do it better than anybody.
You still, when you borrow from the best, and this is what they're borrowing from. So I think it's a huge compliment to that. One thing I wanted to give a shout out to, in Arkham Origins, I believe
The poor medics. You want to give a shout out to the poor
No,
medics. I feel so bad for those guys because all they have to do is just run in and be like, here, let me help you out, bro. And then they just keep running around.
Yeah, I wanted to give a shout out for the reason the city is empty this time.
Oh God,
They evacuated because of the toxin. You know, the game before it was because of Christmas. So I think this was like a genius way to just like explain, like, hey, this is why there's no one around.
Gabe,
So
I do have to
they
ask,
can't.
does it ever stop raining? Ever?
No.
Oh my God.
No.
It's Gotham. It permanently rains in Gotham.
Yeah.
There is no sunny days.
Just a little
in Gotham
silly,
City.
but okay.
That's the tone.
Yeah.
You can't. There's no sun. Like if the sun comes up, Superman will show.
Oh,
The
geez.
red sun.
Maybe that's the ending. The real ending. The sun comes up all of a sudden over Gotham. They do reference Superman. I drove by a few
Yeah,
people
a few times.
where they reference Superman in the game. So
Not just
never know.
Superman. They reference Black Canary. They
oh
also,
yeah. I've heard that
There's
one.
a reference to the Flash, and there is
Oh, that one I didn't hear yet.
there's a poster that shows like the red streak or whatever.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
They reference the Gray Ghost also. For
yeah,
those of you
and
who-
they mention Keystone or whatever. So like there is like Flash references.
yeah.
It's very cool stuff.
I think my favorite part of the game, this is like the dumbest detail, but I think the grapnel launching gliding is like my favorite part of the game.
Upgrade that, dude.
Yeah,
You can,
I think
Dude,
it's
you
just
can
about-
upgrade it to 5 hits and it goes so fast.
you clear so much ground, gain so much speed. It's such a satisfying method of travel, like, and it feels so good. You have such control. I love seeing the city.
And I think that's why people hate the Batmobile.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people do.
flying's so much cooler.
Because people are like, why would I want to... I used to do this in Arkham City where I would just use my grappling hook and I would be able to just get there. But now you're saying, oh, in order to get there, I need to pull on this hook that I need my Batmobile for. So I almost feel like maybe because the other form of transportation is so fun already, most people are like, I don't really want to drive the Batmobile. So that's probably why.
and
do we all want to give it just a rating based off of what
Sure.
we play? I finished it, so I can pretty accurately say mine.
Would
like
you say
8
Arkham Asylum still is your favorite?
Yeah, I would say
Okay.
that, but this is my second favorite. I can say that.
Oh, so you think it's better than City?
I do think it's better
Okay.
than City. Yeah.
Okay.
Because the things I don't like about it are like so like nitpicky. Like, you know, I wish they would have just done like blatant Red Hood instead of what they did. But whatever, they wanted to try something new. Yeah, I can't blame them for that. And I'm sure they're selling a whole bunch of those Arkham Knight figures because they look super cool. So
Yep.
this is like a 9 for me. Like, you know, having completed it and having like done a lot of the side quests, like working my way towards the 100%. Like I like it. It's my second favorite game of the year, right behind Ori. I think I do like it better than The Witcher. It's right there with Bloodborne for me as far as my games of the year. It's awesome.
What about you, Zach?
I want to play more. Obviously, I'm a little bit behind
Yeah.
where you are, Max. But I mean, right now, yeah, I think to me, it's definitely up there in terms of game of the year.
Yeah.
I can't see it falling below a 9, 8.5 for me. It has that much polish where I know I'm gonna like it throughout. Like, it's proved itself enough to me. It started off, I was a little bit worried, not because the start wasn't that great. I just didn't know if I could get into another one of these games because it feels so much like a sequel. But yeah, it's proved itself wholeheartedly, and I really, really love it.
No.
I'm super biased. It's Batman, so for me, it's like the only for me, it's probably going to end up being like a 9.5, 9 point something, because Asylum is like a 10. So obviously this has to be a little bit lower than that, because I still prefer the linear format. But for me, on all accounts, combat, I feel like even the things like they could have gone full lazy mode with it and just be like, hey, let's just do a full sequel and just take everything and just new story and go. But I feel like even the things they did well, they polished upon, and the combat is even better. The sound design is amazing. The characters are really cool. I feel like the diversity of missions is really neat, and I really, really, really like the Batmobile. I remember last night I literally spent like 45 minutes just driving around Gotham. And I would just like shoot the thugs that are trying to run away from you and stuff like that. Yeah. And
don't shoot the green ones. You need to interrogate them.
I killed one of those guys by accident, and the game just let me continue on. I was like, okay, sorry.
You don't Batman kill them.
Batman doesn't kill people, but Zach did it to them.
He wouldn't get up. I couldn't interrogate him. He was done. His green glow vanished. He was just out. He's
permanently incapacitated.
And I feel like I love Batman just as much as you, Max. Like I you say you're biased towards it, but I love Batman too. And I think that's why maybe. Like, I'm, like, extra just mean, like, harsh about the story, like, not being as different as I wanted it.
It's like a tough love thing.
I know, but it's one of those things where, like, I've almost gotten used to the fact that when you go from medium to medium, you're going to have differences. So it was almost like, I feel like they were like, hey, let's take a creative liberty with the Red Hood and try to do our own rendition of him, so to speak.
But then when you're asked, hey, is this the Red Hood? Don't say no.
What are they supposed to say?
Just say we're not. No, just say we're not talking about it. Just don't lie to us.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that. I don't remember that they specifically said that, so I'm not sure if it were the case. But I obviously believe if you were saying that if that's what they said, so that was shady. Like, they shouldn't have done that. They should have just said something like "no comment at this time" or something like that.
Yeah, because their terminology was this is an original character, and sort of.
Yeah, so. But I almost feel like if they did do an fully original, people would complain. Yeah. Because almost everybody wanted him to be the Joker.
I just wanted to be the Joker so Gabe would catch up. That's all I cared about.
The one thing I'm most curious to what you guys are going to think about the game, I can't talk about because it's like a major spoiler. Well, two things, really. And you guys haven't seen either of them, which sucks.
We will see them hopefully by next week. I do have a lightning round. We'll do that. And then we've got a backlog of emails, so we'll get to a couple of those.
Let's do it.
Lightning round number 1, straight from the heavens above. E3 is in the books. What game was your, like, I don't know if you want to say game of the show, but like your favorite?
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Okay.
Done.
That's the one. But my favorite, like, the thing I had the most fun playing, and obviously much smaller game, and there's a lot of things that are better in this game at E3. But playing Zelda with you, like those 2 times that we played it, was a blast.
Yeah,
it was an absolute blast. The Triforce Warriors, like at the very first time we played it with somebody, her name was Tiffany. That's all I know. You know her name, I don't. She's like YouTube famous, I guess.
Yeah, I has Cupquake, a YouTuber that happened to be at Nintendo.
Shout out to her. We won. We finished the challenge. We defeated the boss when we were with her.
It was hard communicating, but we did.
Yeah, she was on the opposite sofa. But then it was me, you, and Jake. That one we failed, which I fully blame Jake.
Yep, me too.
Yeah, but
good to know.
Playing that was really, really fun. But man, Horizon though, that's my jam. That's my jam. That's my jam.
Get that Zelda bias out of here.
I really
game of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. No, yeah, Horizon's game of the show, hands down. I'm not saying Zelda is. I just, I had fun with it.
Yeah, I think it looks absolutely epic, and they did say in a post-E3 interview that they're targeting 2016, by the way.
Dude, they've been working on it since 3. They split the team. Guerrilla split the team, and half the team worked on Shadowfall, and then the original people from Guerrilla Games were working on this. So they've been working on this for like 4 years.
Yeah, I think it'll be ready by like fall of next year.
I think that this is their big fall game. I think they're probably going to do like Last Guardian, and if they have Last Guardian and this in the fall, good luck, Microsoft.
I think Last Guardian's like a early game.
You think they're going to?
I don't think so because they would have said like early 2016.
I think Last Guardian. I don't see it coming out in the summer, so
game's not going to sell well.
It's going to sell over 1 million copies.
Just like Final Fantasy VII, it's not going to sell
when
well.
that releases in 2022 and people don't care about it anymore.
Me and Zach
did you guys talk about this during
Me
the
and Zach had a big argument about this. Zach says that Final Fantasy VII won't sell. I tell him he's nuts.
Yeah, for the 100,000 hardcore people that are like splooging all over.
This is sold millions of copies.
Okay.
Zach,
That game is not a good game. It has not aged well. It's
No,
not a good
throw
game.
that out the window. Throw that out the window.
not
I'm
a good
saying
game.
it will sell millions of copies.
You're not talking about the good game. It's a remake. It's going to be a different game.
I don't think average customer going into Walmart is going to buy that game at all.
Who cares? They don't need to.
They don't need
Millions
to.
of people will buy that.
Okay, look, based on that, you could say, did you ever anticipate how big Fallout is? Because I never thought that Fallout is an average customer game.
Yeah, but this is a Japanese RPG.
It is quite possibly the most famous Japanese
Yeah.
RPG of all time.
Okay, well,
We made a bet. A Detroit hat and a Packer hat. You know,
Okay.
the opposite one of us wear it. He's
With
gonna wear
ketchup.
Packer.
Oh.
No.
in the hat.
I'm not including.
In the hat.
This thing will sell millions of copies, and that's so crazy that you don't think
Whatever. I think it's a total cash in, just abuse of the whatever. It's such like the move like you're in a room of people who are like drug addicts and you're like, got more heroin, like here you go, and people are like, yeah,
You're so
they're, like,
crazy.
freaking out.
You're
like
so crazy.
it's such like a BS. It felt so contrived, and I was so pissed that people were cheering because it's like they didn't do it when people really wanted it, but now that their games take freaking effing forever to make and they can't release a good one,
Listen,
like, oh,
they're making
now,
Tomb Raider for you.
Now
so
we're gonna
be happy.
Now we're gonna put out this Final Fantasy VII.
Oh no, this isn't coming out.
and we're not showing gameplay because God forbid
dude,
we
fine-
even
They don't
this
have
game
any
fast.
gameplay.
Yeah, it's
this
such,
game is probably going to come out on like the PlayStation 5.
whatever.
I don't know about that, but like
No, I'm
maybe
joking.
like 2018 or something. Who knows?
2018, 2019,
Yeah,
something
Kingdom
like that.
Hearts will
It's
release
gonna
in
be nice.
17, Final Fantasy 15 by 18, and then this in like 22.
No, we're getting 15 next year. Like 15 is coming.
Square
That thing
Enix
is
can be
damn
shut
near
down
done.
by the time this game. They don't release stuff that sells. They
Tomb Raider's coming.
yeah, thanks to Microsoft, not thanks to Square.
Well,
Deus
they
Ex
didn't
is
build
coming.
it.
Deus Ex looks freaking
Microsoft has just
amazing,
paid for it.
by the
Just
way.
Cause is coming. Like, what do you
Ugh.
want? They have a lot of stuff.
That's not going to sell.
Yeah, there
well.
you go.
Anyhow,
But
my
you're
game.
insane.
By the way, this is
coming
coming from the guy that predicted that Evolve is going to sell like gangbusters. So
Evolve is the
let's
game
keep
we
going.
need, but
Keep
not
going,
the game
yeah.
that we deserve. Okay,
Get out of here. What's your game of the show, man?
Horizon. But I
Final
also
Fa-
want to.
Shenmue 3.
I want to say that Battleborn is freaking incredible, and I cannot
Yeah?
wait for it. For sure.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
Why?
The
fun.
character variety is incredible, and the way that it has like an arcadey feel to this shooting is exactly what I've always wanted from an MMO that they never.
Isn't
have
it just
done.
Borderlands?
No.
The way that it plays.
No,
No,
not really.
Depends on your character. Oscar Mike is Borderlands because there's 25 characters. Some of them are more melee focused, and all the abilities do make them like very different from each other. Even though there's 25.
And
of
this
them.
is a multiplayer only game,
No,
right?
Single player,
No.
co-op, and competitive.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. No, this game is really cool. I would usually disagree, but this game is really
Because
cool.
I said it, you usually disagree. Great.
Yeah, no.
Good to know.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Round 2. Who's the most hated person on the podcast? Max, Gabe.
Oh,
No. I'm like so. Why'd you bring up Final Fantasy VII? I don't know why.
Is there? There's one answer to this.
No. we're
well,
not
based
talk-
on
that's
that,
not the
you're
question.
gonna get wrecked.
That's not the question. Round 2 is after Batman, since that was like our most hyped thing. What are you most hyped for the coming up?
Oh, I know Gabe's answer.
Do you?
Yeah, Fallout 4.
That is my answer.
What about
That
Metal
and
Gear
Metal
Solid
Gear.
5, Gabriel?
Yeah, I just said it. That and Metal Gear.
Okay.
My two jams.
For me, it's probably Battlefront. After E3, I think that game looks insanely cool.
Dude, that game is so good. Zach liked it.
That's
dude.
probably
That's how you know it's
probably my
good.
second favorite game coming out of E3.
Dude, that game feels so fucking Star Wars when you play
Well, that plus of course Uncharted, but that's already longer term.
it. Yeah.
Because
So-
apparently
so-
people are saying that the second part of that Uncharted demo is quite
Yeah.
possibly the greatest action scene in video game history. It's nuts.
It was behind closed doors. We didn't have Sony access there,
Oh.
so
I heard,
but
from what it's been described, it sounds pretty.
I heard the same
ridiculous.
thing, that it ended
Yeah.
in a very awkward spot, that they have no clue why they ended the on-stage demo where they ended it, that
Yeah.
they should have shown that other stuff. But do you want to pick, because I want to pick 3 that I'm excited for.
Okay.
Because I want, Fallout's the big one, so obviously Metal Gear, because
that's a small one.
yeah, well, it's the second big one. The other one is indeed a small one.
Okay.
That everybody's gone through the Rapture. That looks very cool. I'm excited for it, and it's soon. So those are my 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're all picking 3 now?
Yeah, just pick 3 if you got them.
Okay. Battleborn for sure. Halo 5 because the new multiplayer mode is so. It's like like looked at Titanfall and were like, we can do this way better, and made it super good. And then Rise of the Tomb Raider, because that game, the graphics on that felt like leaps and
Wait,
bounds.
you got to play it?
Yeah, which I thought was awkward.
Yeah.
'Cause they told us it was going to be playable on the show floor, and then
How did it play?
I just played the demo, so it was like pressing buttons, but the
It looks so
demo,
pretty.
but it is,
So it's basically quick time events.
it looks.
Yeah.
It's the best looking Xbox One game, hands down.
Besides Cuphead.
Okay, but
Which, to be fair, isn't saying much.
really,
Well, what else can you bring up?
I mean, any of the multi-platform stuff.
Sunset Overdrive's pretty to an
Yeah,
extent.
yeah, but it's like style.
It looks better than Batman.
Right?
It looks
like
better
Tomb
than-
Raiders.
Tomb
It
Raider looks better than
Yes.
Batman.
Yes, it does. It fully does.
In person, it was insane.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well,
Visual-
we'll see the final product.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
doubt, I doubt
visually, I saw the same thing that Zach saw. Like, we were sitting right there on that couch. Well, not sitting, we were standing.
Well,
but
to
yes.
be fair, don't forget, E3 is notoriously known for showing one thing and then final product is somehow quite different.
I don't sense that with Tomb Raider, but yeah. you're
Even
right.
with
Maybe.
Batman, there's been lots of stuff, so
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Your 3, Maxwell.
I don't know if I have, like...
Claw-
I mentioned, like, Uncharted and stuff, but those are more longer term. I guess
Claw
for this
3?
year... Yeah, Claw 3 maybe. I don't know. Battlefront is for sure the one that I'm looking most forward to. I probably will say Fallout 4 because I don't know how they got me interested in that game because typically I genuinely couldn't care less, but somehow they got me interested. And then what else? If I say Call of Duty, I'm going to be crucified.
No, not at all, dude. It's fun.
Black Ops
It's
3
probably
is
Call of
amazing.
Duty.
Yeah, it's
Probably
we
Call of
we
Duty.
played against Optic, and that went as well as you
It
expect.
was fun though.
Did you at least kill him a couple of times?
Oh yeah.
Dude, you're going
Zach-
pro. That's it.
Yeah.
You can go pro.
Zach's better than me at it though. Like he did better than me. I don't know what it was.
We should
Maybe he was
totally-
You
like-
don't know
when
what
it
it is.
comes
You say,
out,
you say
we
that
should
like,
hop
oh,
on.
like God forbid I'd be good at a game.
No, dude. Like people that say Zach sucks at games, you guys are liars. Zach does not suck at games.
I was wrecking
I'll
in
tell-
almost everything we played.
Yeah, except Street Fighter.
Battleborn, I had like triple the score of everyone else we ever played.
That was the
with.
Yeah.
most like when you hear a child in a kindergarten like I was wrecking in everything we played, bro.
No, Zach's good except on Street Fighter. So that's
'Cause
the
that
only one
one's
he
like,
can't play.
the moves don't even work on that game. So whatever. But my round 3 is an interesting one. After E3, if you had to lock yourself out of one of the 3 consoles, so like knowing their future lineup, you couldn't. And I know what you guys are gonna say, but anyways, you couldn't play Wii U, couldn't play PlayStation 4, couldn't play Xbox One. Like you had to basically like permaban yourself from one of those. Which would it be for the upcoming year, for 2015?
Oh,
For the year.
Yeah.
Okay.
for this next year.
Yes. For now until December 31st.
Here's the dilemma that I come.
Oh, for the
across.
rest of this year.
Yes.
Oh, for the rest of this
The
year.
Wii
For the
U.
next. Wait, for the rest of this
Yes.
Yeah.
year? Okay, yeah, Wii U. If it's for the rest of
Yeah.
next year, then it becomes a conundrum because I cannot miss Zelda.
But why would you not
Yeah.
pick PlayStation 4 that has absolutely no games coming out this year?
What's
That's a
coming up
good
for Wii U?
point.
Mario Maker, which is freaking incredible.
Oh shit! That's right.
Yeah, it's
Wait.
a good point, but
Well, everyone's gone to the Raptors on PS4.
the PS4 is my default game system. That's the thing. Like that's where my friends are. So it's like when we play multiplayer, like when I'll play Call of Duty, it'll be on the PlayStation 4. So almost all the third-party games that are coming out, like Battlefront, Call of Duty, Fallout 4, I'm gonna play all of that on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
So that's why it becomes the default console for that.
Sure.
And then I'm more intrigued by like Halo and stuff like that to try that out. But to be
Tomb
fair,
Raider, right?
I do like Super Mario. It does look really cool. I don't know. You're right. Maybe if I had to like think about it, I'm not sure. No, I'd probably still pick the Xbox and the PS4.
Not if we, like let's say the question was 2015. I know it's not. Then at that point, I have to sit out one of the other two because I'm not sitting out for Zelda. Like that's not.
Oh yeah,
happening.
I would sit out probably the Xbox.
No, what to do? They have Quantum Break next year.
I'm not
Scalebound,
interested.
Quantum Break,
Scalebound is the one
Crackdown.
that I'm excited for. Yeah,
Gears
But-
4.
dude. Yeah, but out of those, Scalebound is the only one that interests me. And then for PlayStation, I mean, if you start, because the thing is, if you think about it, like Santa Monica, Sony Santa Monica has 2 studios, and they showed no games from those guys.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure-
we
I'm
haven't
sure
seen
one
a
of them's
game
God of
from
War.
them in a while. So
I think I would
I'm
probably
guessing
kill off the
that we're getting a
PS4
lot
for
of
this
games.
year and next year.
So no
Dude,
Last
Uncharted,
Guardian,
man.
no Project Horizon, right?
I mean, if Horizon comes out, I'd be sad, but I think I'd rather play Quantum Break and Scalebound than Uncharted and Horizon.
Yeah, but next year, what do you?
I freaking
Wait,
love
wait,
I love Alan Wake.
Say that again.
I would rather
You-
play Quantum Break and Scalebound than Uncharted and Horizon, I think.
Okay, that is.
It doesn't sound insane to me. Like
yes, it does, dude.
What is so good about Uncharted? I still don't get it. Like, the demo is like cool from like if you want to watch a movie, but like, is that going to be fun to play?
Uncharted is always fun to play.
Dude, you're talking about like the Quantum Break was pitched as a movie thing.
Yeah, but
So
Alan
you
Wake
can't-
is like interesting
exactly,
story-wise. Yeah, Uncharted is not.
It's not
interesting
Alan Wake.
story-wise.
It's Quantum Break. Yes, it is. It is an interesting story.
It's
Okay.
a charming story. I don't think it's interesting. It's very obvious and heavy-handed.
Oh, and Alan Wake. Is
Alan
not
Wake
obvious.
was so. I don't even know what happened at the end of that game.
That's how interesting it
Yeah.
is.
Dude,
Look, Zach,
for
it's
guy
not a
that
lake,
just
it's an
picked
ocean,
apart
okay?
like story for like other things. Come on, Alan Wake is
Man,
not.
he falls
like,
into this like witch's brew, and there's like words everywhere. And, that game.
So basically, from now on, like if it doesn't make sense, that makes it good.
Yo, Max, you changed my mind. You are bonkers, Zach.
Whatever.
He's
Because we don't
crazy.
even know what
There's no-
Scalebound is. He's wearing headphones and stuff.
Scalebound
like,
looks so cool. It's platinum,
It
which
does-
they're
oh,
great.
okay,
If they have
okay.
AAA
Can you
budget this
honestly-
time around, like
Can
Yeah,
you
but-
honestly say Scalebound looks cooler than Horizon? Get out of here with
No,
that. You can't say that.
no, but because we haven't seen Scalebound, but I
Dude,
definitely know
Horizon looks better than any game that comes out the rest of this year. And
the
next
hard
year.
part though is that's
Yeah.
such a vertical slice demo. That is not what's going to happen in the game. That
yeah,
what
okay,
have you
but
seen with
you're
Scalebound?
just saying that with in mind with the fact that we don't know anything about Quantum Break and Scalebound.
yeah, but I do know what
We
Uncharted
know
is,
some of
and I
Quantum
know
Break.
I'd rather play Quantum Break than Uncharted.
Yeah, but Scalebound is my issue. I don't. Whatever. I can see you wanting to play Quantum Break over Uncharted. I can't see you wanting to play Scalebound over Horizon. I can't see it.
Yeah, I can see you wanting to play them, but I can also see that you're insane for thinking that will be a better experience because
Also,
it's freaking Naughty Dog. Okay, like it's,
Uncharted 3 wasn't very good. That game got a lot of like mediocre reviews.
To say that game, it also got a lot of
dude,
tense.
you
Yeah,
can't
but
say
game,
that
that's
it's not a good
10
game.
Don't even try.
Oh, I'm not saying it is, but you're saying it got a lot of bad scores. It also got a lot of 10s.
I will say that Uncharted 3 is a 10 out of 10.
Wow.
It's not a 10 out of 10 for me, but it's not a bad
I'm
game.
guessing I'm going to join Greg Miller now in the hate
Yeah.
party.
1 and 3
But-
I don't think are that amazing. 2 is amazing.
What?
Yeah,
Dude,
but
what?
but that's the thing. It's like you see the issue there is like people are gonna say that because Uncharted 2 is better, that makes Uncharted 3 bad. Like I don't get that logic. Why can't they both be 10 out of 10 for different reasons?
Because they're basically
I don't
the
think
same
Uncharted 3 is a
game.
10,
Like,
but it's also, you said it's not a very good game. That's also not
I
true.
think it's very good. I enjoyed it, but like look at Asylum.
You just said it's not
look
very
at Asylum. Asylum, Batman Arkham Asylum is great, and then City or Night, whichever one you say is your second choice. Like that's a evolution of that. Uncharted 3 is not an evolution of Uncharted 2. It's the same game, which is good, but
No, it isn't. It's like
It's not.
It's
what is different?
okay, it's not an evolution maybe in the sense that it doesn't go to a completely different game style, like from linear to open world. Yeah, it doesn't do that. But come on, dude, the gunplay, the action scene, dude, that scene in the desert is like one of the coolest things that ever I've played in a video game. Like played out and just experienced in a game. All of that it's done up like exceptionally well. There's way better the gunplay. They did that way better in my opinion than Uncharted 2. In Uncharted 2, you had that thing still from Uncharted 1 where you'd run in, shoot, next room, shoot. Uncharted 3 didn't have much of that. There was way less of those encounters. The encounters and the gunplay felt way more meaningful. So I think they improved very little ways, but I also think that the reason why people are saying that is because, hey, the improvement from Uncharted 1 and Uncharted 2 was huge, yes, because that was their first game on that console and first time that they ever did like realistic graphics and stuff. And then this time they have played with it before. So with the last iteration, I think that they did the best they possibly could have done on that console for what Uncharted is.
It's a very good game. I just to me like the hype around Uncharted, especially after Last of Us, I don't. It seems weird to me that it has so. I mean, also for
It's made by the same people who made Last of Us.
yeah, but it's nowhere near the same depth of a game at all.
You don't know what Uncharted 4
Yeah, but
is.
that's also
There's
okay.
none
No,
of the
but-
systems that make Last of Us a deeper experience at all. They're not in there.
Yeah.
No, those systems don't need to be there for it to be a deeper experience. Remember, that game's telling a story. Like,
yeah.
Last of Us
I mean,
told a
it's also
story.
Yeah, but it's also
Yeah.
a very different thing because like you're comparing a game that's essentially a survival horror game to an action game.
Right,
Like,
to me,
it's like no, but it's like if you compared Rambo to like, you know, some drama masterpiece. It's like
The Godfather.
they can both, like if you compare The Godfather and Rambo, it's like
Yeah, or
they're
Indiana
both great,
Jones
but
and-
for
yeah.
very different reasons.
Totally, and I think it's good. I just think it lacks like I don't know. To me, for me, it just lacks like that real special element because of the fact that it's so.
I love the character of
generic.
Nathan Drake. I don't know. I think that they have an interesting character. They have their characters are interesting. Of a guy that is just addicted to the concept of constantly finding this next treasure, and he's constantly intrigued by it, and he's trying to set up a family, and he doesn't have necessarily a family, so he gets like Elena and Sully as like his backbones, and they become his family figures. But then all of a sudden in Uncharted 4, the intrigue is that, oh, here's a brother, and there's his brother Sam, who's an older brother, and how does this whole thing now work, considering that Drake has now chose Sully and Elena for the first time, like fully committed to them after Uncharted 3, and then now his brother comes back, who is still essentially the Nathan Drake that we see in Uncharted 2, who still just wants to go after adventure and treasure and blah blah blah. So to me, I think they are interesting characters, and the fact that this one is being written by Neil, and I think that they're gonna really bring the whole idea of complexity of character to the forefront. So I'm super psyched for it.
Yeah. All right, longest lightning round.
Okay.
He can't say that. He can't. He can't
Well,
say.
he can. He
Uncharted.
said it. He said it. You don't got to agree with it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
I guess.
you guys hate Evolve. You hate
I don't. Hate,
I don't
none of us-
hate Evolve. I don't. There's like no games that I hate. I don't think.
none.
I hate games.
I hate plenty of games.
I don't think there's any games that I hate.
Play
I
Powerpuff
just don't
Girls.
play them.
Yeah.
I just don't play them. That's it. I'm just like, great. I don't like that.
Imagine if I told you that the cool part of Mirror's Edge 2 is that her brother is in the game.
But that's not the cool part, though. It's what it's going to do to the relationship you have with the other characters. It's not that this brother exists. That's
You
cool.
can't
Who
tell. You
cares?
can't
Everyone
tell
has
me
a
though
brother.
that is like some serious like eating your own like whatever the expression is. Like it's almost as
You can't eat your cake and have it too.
No, it's like the stuff with like. It just feels so pretentious to say like his brother and the dynamic it's going to change. Like that's what makes this game interesting.
No,
Like,
not just that. Like the combat has been dramatically.
Are we talking
switched
about
up.
Mirror's Edge,
No,
or
we're
are we
talking
No,
about
talking about?
he's talking about
That-
Uncharted.
Oh, okay.
Like the combat is switched up.
Really?
Dude. Like you have this big open area now where you can
Really?
do
big open area.
Yeah.
No. Wait. No, I brought up his brother and everything because you said that there's no interest of interesting characters, and that the characters are like there's lack of dimension to them. I brought that up. The reason why I'm excited about it is because Uncharted is the most adventurous game series that I get to play. Every time that a new Uncharted game comes out, it's me getting to feel like Indiana Jones in the best way possible, cranked to 11, and
Yeah.
doing incredible set pieces that I think are done better
The
than
best
any other
set piece
game.
in games, hands down. Like you can't argue against. Like you can say you don't like the game all you want, but no game does set pieces like that game. None.
Every time there's a set piece in that game, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm going to love
You
the
can't-
game and probably give it a 9 out of 10. I just think it has this like almost like Fallout, like this status, which I just don't understand. But we should move on to emails here.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
still think it's going to be a great game, so don't get me wrong. I'll probably love it.
You're wrong.
I'm okay.
I'm joking.
Daniel writes in saying, "Hi, Zach, Gabe, and Max. I'm writing from London. Your quality podcast has gotten me through my entire exam period. My question is, how would you rate this E3 in comparison to the previous years? In my opinion, this E3 was one of the best I've ever seen. Many thanks from Daniel."
Well, a lot of
Hell of
people
an
who are
E3.
veterans have said that it's like the best E3 they've ever seen. So it's kind of interesting that so many people have said that. I don't know, probably based on the reveals. And I just think what I love the most about this E3, there's very little cynicism. Like, I was worried that after the last few E3s that there would be a lot of people very, very down and kind of saying, oh yeah, we're never actually going to see The Last Guardian. Who
Right.
cares that they announced it in 2016? But there's just this really nice tone of like excitement and like, yeah, like this is an awesome hobby to be a part of, and on all scales, like from indie all the way up to AAA. So
Yeah.
I would say it was a really good one.
Sony's conference was, this is a stupid word to use, but it was magical. Not because I even think that all these games are going to be great, right? But
Zach is face bombing.
No, I know. But Zach doesn't understand. The way Shenmue 2 ended on that cliffhanger, people want to know what the hell is up. For years, like, people want to know. Like, and it might not be millions of people, but there's a demand.
You do realize this is why we don't get, like, the actual
why don't we get
good games, because we have this...
You got Battleborn, you like Battleborn, and like, dude, while we were at E3, you liked everything you play. Everything.
Yeah, I didn't like Final Fantasy VII or Shenmue that you're telling me are magical.
And that's okay. You don't gotta
games.
like these two games. Leave them alone. Well, why you gotta pick on these games? Like, I'm assuming.
No, but wait. Even when you say you don't like, how much have we seen?
Shenmue 3 has 45,000 backers. It's not a lot of people.
So what?
Yeah, but you could say the same thing about like something like Yooka-Laylee. I'm sure that at the end when the game comes out, it'll sell a lot more than that.
Yeah, check how many backers Yooka-Laylee has.
Yeah, but does Yooka-Laylee make something magical? Like, I don't...
Yeah, dude,
I swear Sony just pumps freaking laughing gas into that theater so everyone comes out like in love, or they have like
Do you see why I said that he was going to be sadness?
They have pheromones in that freaking theater so that you come out and you're like, oh my god, Sony.
Let me finish my thought. Right. There's a lot of people that have been wanting to know what the hell.
Who cares though? There's a lot of people that want to know.
There's a lot of people that
45,000 of them out of 8 billion people.
No, that's the people who put the money because there's a lot of people who are worried about Kickstarter.
You could back $1 if you really cared.
Yeah,
well, a lot of like, dude, that game will also sell like well. Like, I'm not gonna say
copies,
it's
just like Final Fantasy VII.
No. I didn't say Final Fantasy doesn't sell 10. By the way, I said it's gonna sell 2. But I don't care if 100,000 people buy Shenmue.
Okay.
Like, the fact that we're gonna get the continuation to that story, one that a lot of people have wanted. Here, as many people want the continuation to this, double the amount. Like, Evolve is played by like 20 people at this point, and you're all for that shit. So step off of this. Who cares? Nobody cares about Evolve. You love it. Right. So why can't people love Shenmue?
They can't.
Yeah, I mean, based on the response, dude, there's clearly a lot more than 45,000 people that are going to buy that game. Based on just purely the response that it got, that kind of like visceral like excitement. I could, again, I never played Shenmue, so I'm not like, yeah, Shenmue, but I'm like that about Horizon, and I'm like that about Last Guardian, so I'm not like,
how come
awesome.
Gears remaking, Microsoft guys are
remaking Gears,
yeah, why isn't that magical? That's an old game that people love. Why isn't, if they announced Voodoo Vince 2, would that be magical? Because people damn wanted to see what happened to that poor little doll.
I'll fully tell you what, alright, look, with Shenmue,
people just drink the Sony Kool-Aid so freaking hardcore. It's so true.
Not true.
It's so true.
I'll tell you why.
It's well deserved.
If the Shenmue,
they have no games this year, Gabe. None. They have nothing. They have nothing.
I know.
Nothing.
I know.
They did nothing to reward you for owning their console this year. Nothing.
Wait. So what you're trying to tell me is like the next
Wii U
6
has
months.
all the games.
No. Wait. The next 6 months, I'm gonna be able to buy zero. Like when I walk into the store, the PlayStation section is just gonna be blank.
They don't even care about you to get an exclusive. To say like they don't even care.
Wait. So did they acquire Call of Duty exclusive maps for their users?
No, they acquired a 1 week exclusivity window.
Okay,
or a month. No, but
did they? It's a month.
It's a month.
Did they acquire it? Yes or no? Just
they have no game.
Did they acquire Destiny stuff? Yes. Did they acquire Star Wars stuff? Yes. Did they acquire Batman Arkham Knight stuff? Yes. So they are acquiring things. I just think that honestly, with their look, I'm not defending them in terms of like, do they have exclusive games? No,
not this year.
And there's no excuse because Microsoft. If you just judge them based on, hey, which one should win this year based on the next 6 months? Because don't forget, if we look at the first 6 months, you could say the same thing about Microsoft. But the next 6 months, yes, Microsoft wins, hands down. Just on the sheer names. But when we go into next year, if Horizon, Last Guardian, and Uncharted 4 come out in one calendar year, I don't know. Microsoft is going to need to release 2 sequels to Halo.
Okay, Last Guardian is not going to be a big seller. Horizon,
but it's going to be a special game. It's going to be a very
special game. They couldn't even get it developed in like 6 years. That's how special it is.
Knack sold 2 fucking million. Knack sold 2 million copies
because there's a launch title.
Dude, Last Guardian is going to be okay. Can you bring up any other game that you could be like, oh yeah, that's like the Last Guardian, except for the other 2 games that studio made?
Game? That was the most boring.
Okay,
their demo was terrible.
How
He made like 3
Okay.
jumps in 5 minutes. That's really what the
Okay.
demo was.
What did you think? What did you think of Shadow of the Colossus and Ico?
I think
or Ico?
I like Shadow of the Colossus better. I think it's
Are those two games considered to be like critical and from a standpoint of like doing something interesting in the medium of gaming?
yes, but released
Yes.
today, I think Shadow of the Colossus doesn't hold up because it's a very thin experience. It's very shallow, like in terms of the content. Like that would be blasted today.
But I think maybe that's also why there's an element of how long this game has been coming out for. Plus, don't forget they had coding difficulty where they changed it from
I
a
can
PS3 game
tell
to
they
a
had coding
PS4
difficulties.
game.
The boy and the creature don't look like they're in the same art style. It's clearly they've had a lot of difficulties there.
Dude, you're okay. We'll see.
Yeah, but about the people drinking the Sony Kool-Aid, right? If Shenmue gets announced at the Microsoft thing, it gets just as much fanfare, if not more. People would praise the fuck out of Phil Spencer for
Whatever.
that. They would pray to the man as the next god, like they really would. But Sony's doing these things, right? Final Fantasy VII. I know you could care less about this game, and you've made that
Why
very
don't you
obvious.
just buy it on PlayStation Network right now for $10?
Because this is going to be a different game. They have said
really?
as much.
Like how
Yes,
what's
it's a remake,
What's going to be
dude.
different?
Just the way that the 2004 Texas Chainsaw Massacre is different from the 1989 one. Like, they're different movies. I'm not saying that this is going to be like... They've said, hey, the combat's going to be different. Like, they're changing.
When was the last
a lot.
AAA JRPG?
Last AAA...
Ni no Kuni.
Yeah.
That game...
Well, Tales just came out last year.
That's
Tales of
that's
Vesperia.
AAA?
No, Ni no
Yeah.
Kuni was good.
Good, yeah, but like...
Yeah, but why is it in your world?
Because
the
this
game
is
has to be
E3.
amazing or not exist at all.
This is E3, and they came to the show. At least last year, they tried to cover it up and say we've got Little Big Planet. Like what?
I just
They have
honestly
Tearaway
don't-
this year, a Vita remake for PS4.
I know, but they had Final Fantasy VII, which you don't care about, but millions of people do. Shenmue, a lot of people care about that game.
The Last Guardian, Horizon, Uncharted
Yeah,
4,
It's a lot of stuff. It really is.
Dreams.
No, I don't. That one I don't care as much about. But
I just
Whatever.
wanted to throw it in there just to see Zach's reaction. I bet you that's the one that Zach is most excited.
I
for.
just, honestly, I literally think all these games I'm gonna love. Last Guardian, Uncharted, Horizon. I just don't.
you're not gonna love Shenmue.
So
I
then
can
No,
tell
I
you
won't
what
like
are-
that. I
what
don't
is the point?
because I don't get why when Sony comes on stage, people like pee their pants and take off all their clothes. Like I don't get it. What?
Because Sony knows its audience better than Microsoft. Microsoft sells to this weird like dude bro audience that wasn't watching E3 and wasn't attending E3.
So basically,
and Sony knew who is in the crowd. Sony knew that us showing God of War is not going to get us the same reaction. We could show that at Paris Games Week, and it's going to do better there than here, because here we know that our audience is going to be people who will go insane for Shenmue
yeah, I guess
3,
I just
and
I'm the
people who
person
will
that
go
would rather
insane
have
for
seen
Final
God of War
Fantasy.
than some remake crap from
and
30
that's okay.
years
And
ago.
that's okay. But all right. And there's nothing wrong with you wanting to see God of War instead. But that doesn't make this crack. Just
I
because
don't think
you
it's
like
crap.
it.
I just don't see how you can say
You just called it crap.
well, they didn't announce anything for this year.
No, they did not, and that's disappointing.
Yeah.
That's highly disappointing.
I mean, again, they announced exclusive stuff for third-party games. That's what they announced for this year. But again, you see, the thing is, let's look at the first 6 months for Microsoft, and you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. It's like you got to be like, at least with Sony, we got like Bloodborne and The Order,
Yeah.
right? So it's like Order, wasn't a huge hit, but Bloodborne, was a
Bloodborne did
huge
very
game.
well.
So it's like you could say the same thing about Microsoft for the first 6 months. So it's just an element of like timing.
Yeah.
Next email comes from Right.
I just think you can be very surprised by how Shenmue and Final Fantasy do, because you're underestimating that.
I hope
audience.
this podcast lasts long enough to even cover either of those weird Japanese games. They're not coming out anytime soon. Hey guys, I really loved E3, but unfortunately with many games getting delayed lately, I still feel somewhat cynical that many of the games announced will get pushed. What games do you think may get pushed from 2015 into 2016 or from Q1 2016 into fall 2016? This is from Raymond in Ireland, and he picks stuff like The Division, Uncharted, Mirror's Edge, Zelda, Rainbow Six, and Horizon as his delay game. So I thought we could just throw out maybe a couple, or one even, that we think might get delayed.
A lot of those can't be delayed games because they don't have a date. Horizon doesn't have a date.
True.
So I don't know how that gets delayed. The one, and I'm sorry that this breaks your heart, Zach, but I wouldn't. It wouldn't surprise me if Battleborn got pushed back.
Okay.
Because when are you going to release that
2K.
thing?
The only,
Like,
the
they
only
have
reason
a-
I think it's for sure coming is 2K doesn't really have anything this year.
At all?
I mean, they got NBA.
And WWE, and that's
Yeah,
it.
but they have Rockstar's not putting anything out, and
No.
Yeah, but to be fair, they probably made enough money off the PC version of GTA to.
and Evolve
Yeah,
those
and-
skins sold really well.
Battleborn
Oh, yeah.
is ready to come out, dude. Like, Battleborn, like, it feels really good. Like, it feels like, hey, like, this thing's ready. It's just that there's a very, very small window for it to come out, and they haven't set a date. They've said, you said winter?
I think,
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Tomb Raider's date gets shifted.
yeah.
Because
Shifted
maybe not delayed, but just because I think it's such a weird thing to do it like a day difference with Fallout 4. I just
The
think
biggest
Fallout
game of the
4,
year,
yeah,
yeah.
Fallout 4 is just going to do insane numbers, and it's more so just from like a gamer's mind share because they're going to get like no coverage, even if the game is great. People are everybody's going to be talking about Fallout. So
Did you guys see the Fallout Shelter? It has like 80 million downloads, something like
it
that.
has 70 million people playing. I mean, 70
Yeah.
million. It's played 70 million times a day.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And not just that, the Pit-Boy edition. Me and Zach both pre-ordered one, but those things are sold out.
Not in
and
Canada.
No?
Yeah, you can get. Yeah, I just got an email today from EB Games, our GameStop equivalent. You can get it.
Oh.
Should I be getting one so we could all three go like Power Rangers?
Yeah.
Like have
we
our
should.
little morphers.
But
I'll
those
just
things are
tape.
sold
I'll
out
just
here.
tape my iPhone to
Yeah,
my.
you might-
Gabe,
as
so
well,
what's
same
your
thing.
delay pick? Battleborn?
Okay. Yeah, I think because I don't know when you're dropping that unless you're Battleborn and Tomb Raider are the ones that seem like Tomb Raider needs to get like when Fallout drops, get the hell out of the way. Like unless you're Call of Duty, and I've heard this said in many podcasts, but like it's true. Unless you're Call of Duty, or Star Wars, get the hell out of the way. Like you're not gonna.
I honestly don't even think if Star Wars is big enough. Maybe after the movie, but like prior to the movie, I just think if people are going to go insane about Fallout. The response is going to be nuts.
Close to 600,000 people watching that Bethesda stream. That was the most watched stream in E3 period.
Yep.
Like more than Sony, more than Microsoft, and that's purely.
It was
Fallout.
more watched than Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo combined.
Man, it's crazy stuff, man.
So
I could see Mirror's Edge getting pushed, especially they'll have a lot of money at EA from Star Wars. I think they could push.
Garden Warfare 2, right?
Yes.
Have fun.
Comes out
There
early
we go.
next year, and I could see them shifting Mirror's Edge. I think one of the Square Enix games, I've heard it from a couple people, and I think one of them will get delayed, whether that's either...
Mad Max.
Well,
or
Mad Max
Just
isn't
Cause.
Square, it's Warner Brothers, but it's being made by Avalanche, who is doing Just Cause
Wait.
for Square Enix.
Oh yeah, that's what
Or
it is.
Deus Ex, but I think one of those games gets delayed, whether it's Deus Ex.
Deus Ex doesn't have a date.
I know it doesn't have a date, but they said first, when I was at the demo at least, they said like the first quarter of 2016. Or
Oh yeah, I don't think that's
I don't think they're going to release whether Just Cause gets shifted because of Mad Max, and then therefore pushes back. But I would say one of the Square games, and then I do think Tomb Raider will probably get shifted, but only like a week or something.
You don't think they'll do like this is not a January game.
For Tomb Raider? No, that's
Yeah.
their big game. They're putting that in November over Halo. I think
Okay.
that they're putting a
They
lot
may.
of
I
marbles
actually,
into that
now
basket.
that you say that, I wouldn't be surprised if they do push it to have like a counter to Uncharted, so
Yeah,
that it's
that's what I'm
closer.
thinking.
But I
you
think
know,
that
like-
game sells way better in November than it does in January or February.
Have they also said how long that game is staying exclusive?
No,
It's gonna be
but it's at least
sizable,
a year, I
yeah.
think.
It's a year.
At
Oh.
least that's what. No, they've never like said it. Like, because at first they said, "Hey, this is exclusive to us forever," and they're like, "Well, no, not forever." And like the further, like the closer we get to the game coming out, the less they'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's gonna be a while. Like it's
Okay.
not like, oh,
Interesting.
this is exclusive for 3 months. That's not the case.
Izzy writes in with an email that's just perfect for Gabe. What's your opinion on Metroid Prime Federation Force? As of writing this question, the E3 trailer on YouTube has 865,000 views. It has 6,690 likes and 63,992 dislikes. I'm one of those people that yelled WTF when I saw the trailer. What did you guys say?
Why? I don't know why Nintendo likes to play with it like this.
Blast Ball.
Like-
I mean, come on. What a better name.
I don't. My feelings are that I, unlike Zachary here, don't have a vehement hate for anything. So if this thing comes out and 2 people enjoy it, go ahead. This thing's not for me. I'll wait for the real Metroid.
You didn't play it, by
but-
the way.
No, I chose not to
Yeah.
play it.
people,
it was right there in
people
front of-
who played it said that it is a fun game. It's just
sure it
disappointing
is.
because it has the name Metroid attached to it.
Yeah, the game was like right in front of me, like multiple times. I'm just not touching that thing. I refuse.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's weird. I mean, I didn't do the E3 Nintendo coverage with you guys, but Nintendo's conference in general was very strange, and all of their stuff after the show was also weird. Like with Reggie, we never show games that are long-term plans or something like
bullshit.
that. Even though like everything you showed last year and
No.
before was long-term stuff, like Zelda, Super Mario Maker, Star Fox. It's like,
Yeah.
when did this strategy come
pro-
together? All of a
The
sudden?
problem with Nintendo is that it was just poor delivery, but their games are actually strong. Like their games are really strong. Like Super Mario Maker is fantastic, and I can't
Yeah,
believe
it looks
I'm even
really
saying
cool.
that. But like playing and like being right next to Zach when he's going through these like super intricate levels that switch up what Mario is in so many ways and add a lot of new twists to that formula.
Yeah.
Like that game's special. Make fun of it all you want, not you, but people in general. But this Zelda game, I think it's a great Zelda game. It's not super story based.
Already, you think it's great?
Well, I played 3 dungeons. Like
Oh.
it's a good amount. I don't know how many dungeons are all total, but and I also don't think it's like super story based. Zach can correct me.
Yeah,
if
no,
he knows
it's
what I mean.
they said there's gonna be like 3 modes, and there's kind of like a hub thing, but not like a overworld
Yeah.
or a storyline. And they asked him about length, and he said if you're playing with 3 people, an hour a day, he thinks there's a month's worth of content. So like 30 hours of dungeons, like, which is if that's the
Yeah, that's
case, that's
pretty
a
good.
lot. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like, and Zach can tell me how stupid this sounds, right? But if there's like 15 of those dungeons, and we played through 3 of them, like 2 or 3 of them,
But I just don't. Wait, you played through 3 of
2.
them in the time span of how much?
They each were about 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes.
20, yeah, depending on who you're playing with and
So
how.
if he says 30 hours, that means there's gonna be like 300.
No, there isn't. But the thing is, the costumes like switch things up so much. Also,
Okay.
I'm happy with that game. It's not a traditional Zelda, but playing it was fun to me at least.
Cool.
I think the Metroid
and you
move
can't
is
forget-
really weird.
And Star Fox looks weird as heck.
I played that game for 2 minutes.
Yeah,
How
it's,
was
That is-
I don't know. I don't
it's
know
not
why
for-
they're making it. It's more fun than it looks, but that's not like a huge thing. It's a
Why does it look so empty?
it's a crappy.
It is. It's empty.
horrible graphically.
It feels like there's nothing there. Like all the
There isn't.
all the gameplay shows like 3 things flying.
Yeah, it's like,
And you're like-
for how pretty like Mario 3D World or Splatoon or even
Oh,
like
Splatoon 1 million copies, by the way. Celebration, the 10th highest
That's
selling
awesome.
Wii U game.
yes, for how pretty they are, Star Fox looks like trash. Like I don't maybe it was developed for the Wii. Or, I don't even Gabe. It looks bad, doesn't it? Like graphically, it's like weird.
It doesn't look great.
Now
Like,
here's
there's, like,
where
zero-
here's where the Nintendo protectors will come in and say they did that intentionally because they are trying to make the game look, because that's what people said about the thing where they didn't sync the lips. You
Right.
know how they did that
Aw.
thing. Where
Why?
they-
Because they just hate textures over there in Star Fox World. Textures are just not a thing. Like get out of here, man.
Yeah. So no, Gabe. It's to make it feel authentic to the first game.
Right.
And I guess that game is very reminiscent. Like you're playing like in
Yeah,
the
but
same
by
level
that
as-
logic, we would still have 8-bit graphics because we would still try to make everything look like 8-bit.
Yeah. No, I'm not
just-
defending Star Fox.
I mean, I like that they kind of like
Don't get me wrong.
follow the beat of their own drum and don't do whatever. And maybe Federation Force ends up being fun. We didn't play it, but it's so weird because even like a 3DS Metroid, like even in a 2D style, would sell so many copies. And I don't know why you wouldn't just cash in.
Yeah,
when
it's
you
a
could.
weird business decision, like
Mm-hmm.
that's the one thing. It's like if you don't even think about the fundamentals of like like game and fanboys and stuff, it's just from a business standpoint you would think like there's a lot of money sitting right there for you guys. But then again, maybe we're all wrong because things that we all thought would be huge console sellers for them,
Like
they
Final
didn't do
Fantasy
that.
VII, man. Could be all wrong, even though we think there's a big fan base.
No, we know that. No, but the one thing I will say about Metroid, there was talk about Metroid Prime 4 during E3, like interview wise
With who?
and stuff, and
With the Nintendo?
Yeah, with Reg.
yeah, directly.
Oh yeah.
dir-
He said they know that there's a want for a proper
Doesn't mean they're going to
Metroid.
do anything, but they know people
Yeah.
want it.
Well, no, even retro people, they said like, hey, like we know.
What would
like,
you do if the NX, which I now 100% think is coming out next year, what if they launch with a...
Well, it has to. That's why this was such a
Yeah.
weird conference, because they just said, "Here's all we have planned for Wii U,
Right.
and we're done with it."
Yeah, 2 games for
So then,
2016. But what I was going to say is, like,
alright,
what if this launches next year with a 3D Mario, with Zelda like
Zelda
crossover,
and
and a
Metroid.
Metroid?
Okay, that's the Zelda thing is the one thing, right? Because you're either putting out Zelda Wii U out early, or you're fully making it a crossover title. And they alluded that they're not doing that. Like as far as the crossover,
No, they
thing,
just said
like,
it's coming out on Wii U for sure, which doesn't say it can't come out on NX as well.
Like, if NX comes out next year and they have Metro Prime 4, Zelda, whatever, and then a new Mario, I'll eat ketchup.
And
Wow.
all three,
and I
all
will
three
also,
as
and I will
launch
also
games, as
predict
launch
that it
games.
will still not be a huge
Yeah,
success.
me too.
Yeah, as launch games, by the way, for that ketchup thing, they all have to be available on day one, which I don't.
Max,
think.
I want you to know that in person, like, the ketchup fear is real. Like, Gabe recoils when we were talking about ketchup in the car. Like, he was not having any of our shit. Like, he was just not dealing with it.
That's funny. I wish I was there.
2 more emails. Oliver writes in, or Ludo, I guess would be the name.
I thought it was Master.
Saying,
Wait, what? You said Oliver and then you said Ludo?
yeah, well, I thought Oliver was the first name, but I think it's the last name, actually.
Oh,
Anyhow.
okay. Because I'm like, that's a very different pronunciation of 2 names. I'm like,
Yeah, trust me on this when I speak this language.
Yeah.
If you could give any game the Final Fantasy style glorious remake, which game would you personally pick to have redone?
Claw.
Chrono Trigger.
Another JRPG.
Woo!
Huh.
You guys sleep on these JRPGs. Lost Odyssey. That was one of my favorite games on the 360. I love that game.
There's so few games that I like really want remade.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, it's like gorgeous. Like we only saw cutscenes, so I guess like if we're talking just visually, just make something look nicer, you do have to go to like older games.
Mm-hmm.
What would be a really
Final
old
Fantasy
game?
6 is another one. Sorry, Zach, but that's one of the best games of all time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Splatoon HD, anyone? HD?
Claw HD.
I'm working on it, man. I'm doing all the coding.
I don't,
That would be
I don't even know
incredible.
if I have one.
With like really cool cutscenes. Imagine him as like Pirate Cat, dude, in a crazy cutscene like Assassin's Creed style. Oh yeah, sign me up.
I don't even know that I...
Parasite Eve.
I don't know. Yeah, it's weird because you see, like when I look to older games, I'm like, there's nothing that I'm like, oh, I would enjoy that more if the graphics were great.
Gabe, I like
You
how you're
guys-
picking
are
all
you-
the PS1 games because that console is one of the worst graphical styles ever.
Chrono Trigger was not a PS1.
Maybe Resident
Chrono
Evil,
Cross-
like one of the old Resident Evils.
PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
No. Wait, what else did I say besides Chrono?
Parasite Eve.
That's one PS1
And then you
game.
said one
You said
more.
all the...
Oh,
I
Final
forgot
Fantasy freaking 7 you love.
No, I said 6, and 6 is not a PS1 game. Sorry to break your heart
I know,
there.
But PS1. There's just nothing like... I'm going back to like... I don't see how it makes
Metroid.
any game better. Really.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a
Well,
weird.
I mean,
it's a tough.
yeah,
question.
I don't think that you should touch these games. I'm just saying, like, it'd be cool to see, like, just a trailer, like, of something done, like, because the way he phrased his question is, hey, what would you like to see? In my mind, I'm saying, okay, a trailer like this because
Okay.
we don't know what the game looks like. So I would like to see a Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, and then you go into the game and you're like, what happened?
Because the thing is, Chrono Cross sucks so much. Chrono Cross is a bad game, and I don't know why they I don't know why they did that really, but I'm confused.
Zach would pick the first Tomb Raider game.
No, I just don't have any
No.
allegiance to stuff like you do. Like, I love it and leave it, and then it's in the past, and it's like, I'm done.
Well, no, but these are like some of the best experiences I've ever had.
Yeah, but I don't
Like,
think any of them would hold up today.
Oh, Chrono Trigger holds up. Absolutely, it's one of that Final Fantasy VI. Parasite Eve is not one of the best games of all time, but the other two,
Yeah.
hands down, dude, hands down.
I just don't.
I don't know. It's a little tough to say because, like, again, it depends what you say, what you mean holds up. Like, if you took a kid and you let him play Final Fantasy, maybe I'm wrong, but I just think it's too slow for modern day.
Let's hire a kid. What's the perfect age? 8, 9?
No.
I don't know. He wouldn't.
Give it to my 13-year-old brother.
No,
No,
he would get
no.
bored. I think it's too slow.
He has your DNA. No.
I think it'll be too slow. Because
I
there's a
they'll like
reason why JRPGs are not as popular anymore, right? Like, I just think they're a little bit more, like, grindy and kind of... But then again,
see when Perso-
Pokemon is huge, so who knows?
yeah, we'll see when Persona 5 comes out,
Exactly.
Won't sell very many
Yeah.
copies.
which is this year apparently, which is strange as fuck.
Jesus. According to Zach, the gaming industry is dead.
No, JRPGs don't
'cause
sell. Why do you
nothing-
guys disagree with this?
Oh.
They don't.
No. I agree with you.
They sell enough that there's been like over 15 Final Fantasy games.
Yeah, sure,
like
but they're not going
and
to be...
Persona is a franchise, dude. They're doing a dancing game. They did a fighting game.
I
so
tried to
obviously
get
it's a
Gabe to
big enough-
dance with the Persona girls.
There you go.
I would have.
Because Gabe told me he's a good dancer. He said, "You may not know this about me. This is totally out of the blue."
I'm a phenomenal.
But Gabe's
dancer.
a good dancer.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
absolutely.
You would even say phenomenal.
Yeah.
You want to break it down for us right now?
Nah, not now.
Amir writes in and says, "Hey, can you guys talk a little bit about Bungie and the Destiny debacle? Do you guys have any thoughts about that? How can anybody defend Bungie anymore or even buy their games?"
Here's what I'll say about
What's
this.
that? Is that the thing where they talked about the collector's edition?
Yeah, they're trying to sell you the game again to get this extra stuff and some exclusive emotes
and now they're selling it separate. They're like compromises, like you can buy these emotes for $20.
What?
Hands down. Okay, hey, look, Zach, you can even read the story so that we don't get anything wrong. But I will say this in the meantime, and I'm gonna curse. Hands down, Bungie fucked up, and they fucked up well. Like they can't defend this. And the way that they're backtracking and now making it seem like, oh, they're all for the players, we do care about what you say, it's damn near disgusting. Like
Luke Smith,
so it's basically like what Microsoft had done like 2 years ago. Same
no,
kind
this
of.
is worse.
Luke Smith, who used to be a pretty cool guy, he was on the One Up show for years. I listened to him. He is now the lead designer, I guess, on Destiny. And he did an interview talking about this debacle.
Yeah, give credit. I think it was a Eurogamer.
Yeah, Eurogamer, and he came out since then and said like I was an asshat. I screwed up. My words make it sound like they backtracked on everything. But like the interview, I'm just gonna pull up a couple things so we're very accurate, about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like he said, like, can you see that this is Eurogamer? Can you see that some fans are confused that you're asking them to buy stuff they already own? And Luke Smith said, yeah, I can totally emphasize those people, but the collector's edition is a pretty cool package for people who want to pursue that stuff. Otherwise, surely what you're saying is that you would want to buy them separately, right? And the guy said, well, yeah, I would rather do that, pay a few dollars or whatever, than spend money on things I already own. And he laughed and said, well, we have nothing more to talk about regarding your opportunity to spend extra money in Destiny other than the Taken King and the 3 versions we've announced. And he said... They asked him, can you talk about why they're not selling separately? And he said, rather than comment on Bungie's philosophy, here's what I'll tell you. If someone made a golf clap emote, I would spend money on that. Like when someone falls in the vault of glass. At that moment, I bow when I'm trying to mess with them. So I empathize with some of the things you're saying. And Eurogamer said, I feel like you should put some of these things that you're empathizing with into practice. And he said, we have nothing to announce today. We're reading the forums and the reactions to this week's announcements. We will continue to discuss player feedback with respect to the game. Basically, he just came off as like, so like Destiny's the greatest thing ever.
Arrogant. Yeah.
And, screw whatever. And he said... final question on prices. Is this also the final question on emotes? And Eurogamer said, I'm not going to mention them again. I can't get them. And he said, but you can if you buy the collector's edition. And Eurogamer said, I'm not going to buy the game and the 2 old DLCs all over again that I already own. And Luke Smith said, okay, but first I want to poke you on this a little bit. And Eurogamer said, poke at me? And Luke Smith said, you're feeling anxious because you want this exclusive content, but you don't know yet how much you want it. The notion of spending this money is making you anxious. I can see it. If I fired up a video right now and showed you the emotes, you would throw money at the screen, which is just like...
Yeah, which scares me if there's actually people that think like that
dude, and they're working on this game, and it's disgusting.
Yeah,
that last quote right there. If I
you're anxious to spend money on our game. That makes me want to even if it's an amazing game, never want to spend money on your game.
Dude, I never want to when it happened that first day. I never wanted to touch Destiny again, because they're so arrogant. Because they have all this success that I would even say sort of overshadows their Halo success, because Halo's a humongous franchise, don't get me wrong, but
the average player is logging in for 3 hours a day in Destiny right now.
Yeah. Destiny 1 is like 3 times as big as Halo 1, and that scares me. And if they were much more consumer friendly, that's fine. Because people love the game, play it all you want. But if, internally they're saying, these guys are fucking buying anything, we could sell them the game again, and they won't care because they're just paying for everything. It doesn't matter. If that's what they're going for, and that's how they're choosing to do business. I own Destiny and the 2 expansion packs, and if I want those emotes, I don't care for them. But if I wanted them, I had to buy the game and the DLC that I already own again. Why? Why are you doing this? It makes no sense. They said, we want to reward year 1 players. What does that even mean, dude? You want to reward us by selling us the game that we already own and that we've a lot of people have logged literally 1,000 hours.
I think the game is just a giant trap. It's like Activision testing the limits of where they can push. And granted, we don't know how much this is Bungie versus Activision, honestly.
That was a Bungie guy.
No, I know that was. Again, he's reporting and making a game for a contract with Activision, and it honestly just feels like using the guise of Bungie as this holy developer that loves games and loves gamers. How far can we push and manipulate a system to just totally take advantage of everybody in every sense of the word? That game is just Like, look at how they handled the no raid in the last DLC. Look how they're handling, Taken King is twice as much money, and they won't really give reasons why. It's very strange.
Dude, they won't talk about like everything that's in the game. Like they won't justify the $40. Like they've been asking in other interviews. I wish I could like quote them like verbatim, but I was reading it on the plane, and they're asking like, hey, like how no, dude, it was during the Giant Bomb cast actually. One of the wrap ups. They had a guy that works at Bungie, and they're like, hey, like this is $40. Like what's in it? And he's like, well, so far I can only talk about what we've talked about here, which is, the emotes and the extra powers for each of the subclasses for each one of the classes, and the limited new area and stuff like that. And Bungie employees come off as two ways to me. Like, they're just scared to talk about how they really feel, or they're just arrogant.
Well, and I will say, like,
it's strange.
He's a very nice guy, nothing against him. But, like, when you're at the Destiny event, like, the community manager was taking questions from people. And
was it
and he answered every question. I know this is, like, his shtick, and that's totally fine. But he answered every question in that same way. Like, people say, like, is there how many strikes are in that game? And he would either just totally ignore them, or say, like, there are strikes in the Taken King, or like, what is, are we going to get an increase to our, what is that called, like, where you store stuff in the game?
Crucible
and he said,
thing.
Crucible's multiplayer.
Yeah, like we know that, like, or he would just give like these incredibly vague but slightly like
smarky.
Yeah, just like answers of like.
We're aware that people want more storage.
Yeah,
you giving it to us?
Even in a way that was like, we know that whatever, and we'll bring it to you when we're ready. Or like just.
Yeah, but don't forget that you despise Destiny, and you listening to that could be like to admit, right? Like you could be biased, right?
He just gave no information, just like the interviews, which I think is so weird when they're showing the game.
Hey, I don't despise Destiny at all, but they're doing a very poor job of explaining.
No, I think I think that video was cool because I think like the video they showed was interesting because it showed some unique things like new like creatures and stuff like that, which to me was interesting. And honestly, I had been intending to like in July try to catch up on Destiny. That was my thing. I was gonna like set up to try to play a lot of it to be ready for the Taken King. This interview has definitely soured me on that because I just would hate to think that that's the way they think internally. I would
think it
really,
is though by
hope,
the way that
I would really hope
DLC...
it's just him, or maybe he came off the wrong way.
Yeah, because it's during E3, so stressed, tired. Like that's what I'm hoping it is.
Doesn't their
and
content
when I said I
reflect
wanted
that though?
I don't know.
I mean, you see, the issue there is this, that you and I maybe could say that in terms of like because we didn't play a lot of Destiny. Again, played a good amount, but not like the insane amount of time that other people are playing. And if you ask somebody like we know people who play lots of Destiny, right? If you ask them, hey, do you think they're doing a good job with their content? I'm pretty sure that they would say yes. I'm pretty sure that most people are, because otherwise why would they be playing it for so many hours, Like, I think that they're clearly doing something right, and it's resonating with a lot of people for like, imagine 3 hours. That's a long time. That's not even like a Call of Duty type of, thing.
No, for sure. I just definitely talked to a lot of people that agree with us, and yet still, because of friends or because of addiction or because of they like the
social
gunplay and that stuff, like they still play it.
See, I won't get into it too much, right? But at the thing where you saw the Taken King, like you said, people were excited, like people liked it, right? So without getting into any more detail about that, like those are hardcore Destiny players that were there. Like a lot of them were there exclusively for Destiny, and they're eating this stuff up.
Yeah.
So, there's interest in it. It's just that they really messed up. And Bungie is the type of company that historically, like, they acknowledge their mess ups, and they're going to say, hey, we're going to do this to fix it. And I hope that's what they do. And like I said, in my mind, I said, man, F Destiny. Like, if this is what the company thinks, I don't want to be a part of this. And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, well, you know what? It's during like the week of E3 that this happened. These people are obviously very tired, under huge amounts of stress that they're usually not under. So whatever. Like the guy maybe was just having a bad day.
Totally fine.
And he probably did like 10 interviews that day. That this last Eurogamer interview might have been like the 10th, 11th interview he's doing that day. And he's just tired of answering the same questions. So he got a little
plus,
snarky.
Don't forget also, like, we're just reading text. We don't even hear the tone, right?
Yeah.
Like, if I was just like, we're talking right now, and then I'm like, I'm laughing. Like, you write laughing, he answered. You can interpret that as like he was like smarky. Well, let me tell you something. We're gonna sell you whatever we want, whenever we want it. But if you're there in the interview, I think it's also a different tone. So I'm hoping that it's more a case of all of these other factors accumulating, or maybe it's just this one person.
Sure.
Because I really would hope that they don't think that way. On the inside.
I think we'll
because
see.
there hasn't been anyone else or any other time where that was the message they sent.
Sure.
So
And we'll see when this releases. I mean, I think they've gotten some passes, but I think if Taken King comes out and is, very bare and whatever, I think then we're going to start to see a shift a little bit in the Destiny kind of.
Yeah, because no matter how, because I guess we can all say, and in our mind, like a lot of people seem to be very taken by this game. No pun intended. But they seem to be
wait,
like,
are they gonna have Liam Neeson in it?
God.
I
He's
don't
replacing
know. Is that a
Peter
thing?
Dinklage.
Oh God, I got it now. I was like, what are you talking about? I thought they just replaced Peter Dinklage with Liam Neeson, but I got it
that
now.
would be amazing if he became the little ghost. We will go take them out.
No, but like a lot of people like seem like they're entranced by this thing almost, right? But I think if Bungie has repeat offenses like this, like people will wake up, like it'll snap them out of it. Like they can't be sold a $40 thing that they're not being told clearly what's in it, and there's a long time between here and release, so there's time for it to be explained in a better manner.
Maybe they just spray every disc with the same stuff they spray in the Sony theater room before E3.
What about
yeah.
the digital room
Maybe.
copies?
Let's end on a happy note, if that's okay with you guys.
I refuse.
This-
I've been trying to.
This is a rumor from a supposedly credible source. I don't know if you guys have seen this already.
Wait, is it the same credible source that we're gonna get Skyrim 2? Do you remember
No,
that
I don't
one?
remember that one.
Who is this
You remember
credible
that
source? It's just weird to just say this is a rumor from a credible source.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Jake from his house just emailing us.
No.
Yeah,
It, the same source had leaks on the third wave of Amiibo, including predicting the third-party characters. On top of that, the same source gave early word that there would be Nintendo characters in the new Skylanders game. Take it for what it's worth. But the big rumor is that Nintendo and Disney have been in negotiations for years on a deal, and they were looking to get Amiibo and Disney Infinity 3, but it didn't come together in time. This would tie into the desire to have Mario and Wreck-It Ralph 2, and eventually a
Mario and Mickey game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that this is genius for them to do. Like, honestly, I honestly almost had a feeling like with Disney doing those few years where they went like Marvel, Star Wars, I thought their next purchase would have been Nintendo, or at least they would have tried to bid for them.
They can't afford that.
Dude, they can afford to
Disney
buy
owns like
Nintendo.
half of the world.
Dude,
But I'm saying Nintendo's not a cheap purchase, though.
no, it isn't.
Like,
It's I'm not sure how much their stock fully trades.
yeah,
at,
I'm not saying they can't afford it. Like just like
no, they
cash
they
flow
could make a
wise.
bid for it for sure.
But not in the same year that they like just bought Star Wars. Like it's not happening.
Yeah, but don't
Not in
forget
the
that
same
Star
year.
Wars is a brand. Like Nintendo is a huge company. Like you're buying.
It's also a brand.
Yeah, but it's more. It's like saying buying Mario. Mario is more equivalent to buying Star Wars.
How much would Nintendo sell for? That's billions.
Yeah, lots and lots of billions.
Yeah.
But they could probably afford them. So I think it's a no-brainer. It's a genius move for them. I think that, look, if they're not planning to do anything with their Amiibos, then let Disney Infinity do something cool with them. And we'll see how it goes. I wonder if this will be kind of like a beginning of a further relationship. But I also am intrigued, like, was this deal soured in any way by Nintendo making the theme park deals with Universal? Because when you're dealing at that business level, all of those things are taken into factor, right? Because if you're Disney, you're like, oh, we could do business with you, but you're doing business with a competitor, like, so I wonder if that is affected in any way.
The second half of this rumor is that Amazon and Nintendo are also trying to get in bed together for some partnership
That's
with their mobile
true.
game stuff.
That seems very true.
And I think it's interesting, and maybe this foreshadows the NX, or maybe it's going to be separate, but if this would be true, like partnering with these mainstream, it would seem like then Nintendo is going to fully commit to sort of like we're like the family, whatever, and not in any way try to compete with Xbox One or PlayStation 4 with the NX, and instead just double down on what they do and try to really entrench themselves with big partners like Disney and Amazon that have a huge base.
The Amazon thing, that's just them mending bridges. It's not like partnership. It's just them like actually having the ability to sell their stuff on there again. Because for a long time, like you couldn't really find Nintendo. Yeah, like Nintendo and Amazon, they don't play nice.
No, like you couldn't buy Nintendo games for a while, like for like 2 years or almost something like that.
Yeah, like a 3DS.
It's a
you
very
couldn't buy.
weird decision because if they do that exclusively, I think that's a very, very weird
No, I
decision.
doubt they do.
So we'll see how it goes, but I really hope it's not an exclusive thing because that would be, in my opinion, a mistake because I think that's just weird. Why would you start developing apps and mobile games and then limit it to that marketplace? So
Yeah, I don't think it'd be exclusive. I mean, out of all of this, the thing I'm most excited for is that Nintendo theme park, which has nothing to do with Disney. But that's been my dream for years. So it's just very. It's on like a totally different level than like the games or whatever. But if Nintendo and Disney partnered, I don't know. I feel like they could do some really like big stuff.
Sure.
Possible.
It feels like the Marvel and Sony thing, you know, for getting Spider-Man and just like being the Avengers. That's what it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, it's just like lend us your amiibos. Like, let's put them in this game that actually people play.
I just wonder what those conversations go like as well. Like the head of Disney calls up Miyamoto and is like, that Mario guy, like he would look real great next to Mickey Mouse. Like what?
I doubt that that's the people that talk. First of all,
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I think that we don't realize how much bureaucracy is during those meetings because there's a ton of stuff that goes into it. Like it's very little of it is about the value of the characters or anything. It's predominantly like financial and like who gets how much and how does it work out. Like, do we get to like? I feel like it's more so like remember Floyd Mayweather and Pacquiao. Right. That's what it's like where they decide like I get my own announcer, you get your own announcer. I'll get introduced as this type of champion. It's like that in depth. Because Nintendo is very protective of their properties, and so is Disney. So it's on that kind of level, you know, where they're like, but we can't have Mickey be like worse than Mario. He has to be this height, you know?
And we, though, are not very protective of our podcast. We love your input and your feedback, so make sure to write us, can'tstopasking@gmail.com. We're planning to do sort of a first half of the year wrap-up show soon, especially with the drought of games. So if you have any ideas or thoughts on what your game of the year from the first half of 2015 is, definitely write in about that. You can find us all on Twitter, twitter.com/blitzwinger, twitter.com/volatilgabe, twitter.com/ghostrobot. Thank you for listening. Thank you for resubscribing and reviewing us on the main new feed on iTunes, and yeah, that's a show. It definitely carried on longer than I thought. We got a little crazy in the middle, but Batman is great, so that's good.
Batman is amazing.
I'm so glad I don't hate Batman because that would have been the worst for me and for the reception.
At that point, you just quit life. Like,
I do want to say though, and I want to make this clear to everyone. I know there's like 5 people listening right now, but I do want to say, and Gabe can attest to that, I legit loved 99% of the things I did at E3. Like, I'm so excited for the future, next 18 months of games.
Zach in person is a different Zach.
I love so much of it.
Even his dismay for Shenmue and Final Fantasy wasn't even as profound like in person. Like we talked about it a little bit, but not like this.
Here, man. Here it was like you poked a tiger. Yeah. Like you just mentioned, you just said Final Fantasy, and then he was like, "What? How dare you?"
It's hot in this room. I mean, maybe that's what Luke Smith was feeling when he was doing that interview. Like they didn't give him proper ventilation or something. I don't know.
Yeah, he did the interview in that Star Wars room.
That was
I still maintain that that's the hardest room that I've ever been to breathe in. Like that's a room where you need to get air. It was impossible. Whatever.
We got to get some air, so we'll get some air right now and wrap this show up. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week. Any final words?
Cash point. All right, because we said this on the other one. Hey, everybody tweet at Game Riot. Good old Scott. Ask him, hey, where's the nearest cash point? Just ask him that. And with a heart or something, a smiley face, and send him some love. Hopefully he tells you where the nearest cash point is.
Yeah, and spell it CACHE, like a cache.
A cache point.
Yeah.
Man. But yeah, tweet at Game Riot. That's the only thing I wanted to leave off with.
Alrighty. With that, we'll wrap things up. Come back next week for the Final Fantasy VII cast for the next 4.5 years. And until that time, we will see you all later.
Yeah.